All right, so the first question to even ask here is, where the hell did Piratesoftware even come from? Well, he
came from Blizzard. He was raised at Blizzard. He worked at Blizzard. I don't know if you knew that, man, but he used to work at Blizzard. Blizzard Entertainment, he worked at Blizzard Entertainment. He's the first, second generation Blizzard employee. All right, he's kind of a big deal.
Proved to us that he had another talent, building up a massive community of very loyal haters. These incidents that we just talked about had...
Yeah, he's the guy. He has that perfect personality, that perfect blend of traits, combined with the insufferable confidence and condescension that make him someone you love to hate. He's got, Bond villain energy. So when you hear him talk about hacking, there was that clip of him talking about hacking where he talks about all the shit he did to hack, and then you find out that his actual hacking job was social engineering. He does the Jordan Peterson thing where he uses a lot of big words, and it's essentially tech word salad. That's what Jordan Peterson does. He'll spend 10 minutes explaining something that could have been explained in 2 minutes, and the other 8 minutes are just nonsense words, or just word salad designed to make him sound smart to stupid people. Basically, they break down his claims, look at the stuff he showed and the things he said, and explain why people who actually know how this stuff works explain why it's pretty much impossible for it to be what he's claiming it is. But anyway, we're going to go into the violent
off the criticism and the
unraveling of Piratesoftware, where they break down his entire history from before he became a big streamer to how he became a big streamer to why he will not remain a big streamer. Let's go.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And that phrase is perfect to describe when a massive content creator gets into controversy bad enough to end their career. But when it comes to Piratesoftware, he wasn't just a big content creator. He was someone who managed to blow up from 13,000 subscribers all the way to 1.1 million in less than 2 months, taking over the YouTube Shorts algorithm at some point, and even making over 50,000...
Yeah, the Shorts is what made him famous, basically. He had been streaming, I forget how long he'd been streaming, but I know I'd heard of him and he'd been around for a while, but it was when he started doing Shorts. Like, he got into the Shorts boom at the right time when Shorts was just becoming a thing and everybody was looking for that alternative to TikTok. And then, of course, TikTok got banned, which forced everybody to Shorts for, a couple days there. And it didn't take long. He just basically blew up overnight.
$1,000 in one Twitch stream. However, he also managed to lose all of that just as fast. His actions didn't...
Easy come, easy go, boys.
...just make him unlikable, but it exposed him, both as a brand and as a person, making people realize that they had subscribed to him over lies or exaggerations, and that he never showed his true self until now. You've no doubt somehow heard about this already. So many people are talking about him because it's that much of a crazy story, and so I thought of making a video going back to the first ever incident and how it led us here today. So without further ado, let's do this. All right, so the first question to even ask here is, where the hell did Piratesoftware even come from? Well, he
came from Blizzard. He was raised at Blizzard. He worked at Blizzard. I don't know if you knew that, man, but he used to work at Blizzard. Blizzard Entertainment, he worked at Blizzard Entertainment. He's the first, second generation Blizzard employee. All right, he's kind of a big deal.
Created his channel in 2016. And while his channel would grow over the years, it would do so in a very slow manner, reaching 13,000 subscribers after 7 years. But then, at the end of October 2023, he would take a decision that would change his life forever. And that would be uploading highlights of his Twitch streams as YouTube Shorts. These were such an incredible success that for a while they took over the YouTube Shorts algorithm. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all if a huge portion of you watching this video right now came across these shorts on your own time. The views speak for themselves, with tens of millions of people being exposed to his channel for the first time and liking it. But how did he manage to do that when so many others couldn't? Well, many different shorts actually share the same factors. All you have to do is just watch one to understand the appeal. This short right here, titled Social Engineering, has every single one of these factors combined. So let's take a look at it and then I'll explain. Watch.
So when I worked at Blizzard, I had to do a social engineering task where I had to hit customer support, and I had to get 50 questions answered. And let me tell you, I got my questions answered.
I need to
I shouldn't
revive
have.
this guy?
That was
Oh,
the
he's
problem.
emoting.
They're not supposed to answer those. And one of the things that I found that was really interesting is people that had been there for 1 year were really, really hard to trick. But people that had been there for 5 years were really easy to trick. What have we learned? We've learned that training is the issue. Everybody that actually worked at the company got
Okay, everything you're saying is making sense so far.
training in their first year, and then they never got training again. So they became complacent, exactly.
All right, so I'm going to try to break this down because what's up, Zurloff? Zurloff? Why does your name sound like a drug? Look, I'm going to try to break this down. So the way Piratesoftware operates and the way he works is there's a nugget of truth behind what he says. And you're about to watch it happen in real time because I have a feeling he's about to do this. He's going to give you a nugget of truth, which is what he just said. That he was able to identify that people who had social engineering was his job, and he was able to identify that people who'd been there longer were easier to trick into giving up the credentials than people who were fresh and new. Basically people, which you can see this in real jobs that you've probably worked. People who've been there a while get comfortable with their job, they find shortcuts, and they stop following the rules. To whereas a new person is going to follow the rules to the letter because they're new and they're, scared of getting fired. Once someone gets comfortable and they learn what rules they can break, they will start breaking them. That's typically how most jobs work. All right, so that's the nugget of truth. Now, he's already given you that nugget of truth. What's going to happen next is he's going to start exaggerating that nugget of truth. And he's going to expand upon it to a comical degree to make himself sound more important and to make it sound like a bigger deal than it was. So, he'll start stroking his ego next. It'll all be ego driven. He already gave you the truth. Story should have stopped there. You've gotten all the information you needed. If he was telling this story to his boss, he has told his boss everything his boss would need to know, which is your people need to be retrained. There you go. That's it. All you'd have to do is tell them that training is the problem. But something tells me he's about to exaggerate the fuck out of this story.
The director of CS came and he said, I want the names. And I said, I'm not giving you the names. You're just going to fire those people.
Yep, he's dramatizing it. Now it sounds like a big confrontation. I want names. Like, you could see this in an episode of Breaking Bad or something. He slams his fist down the table. I want names, Piratesoftware. I'm not giving you the names. No, these people need my protection. Now he's going to paint himself out to be the hero.
And he goes, I'm going to go to your boss. I was like, do it. My boss is like, you got the names? I was like, yeah. And he goes, you going to give them to him? And I was like, no. And he goes, he's not going to give you the names, bud. And then I sat down and I was like, look, I'm not giving you the names because if I did, you'd fire all of these people that are your best employees.
So brave. So brave. All right, this is the part that never happened. This part didn't happen. More than likely what happened is they came to him and said, what did you find? He told them the same thing he told us at the beginning of this clip. And they said, well, then what do you suggest? And then he suggested more training or how to train them, gave him his feedback, and that was it. I doubt they instantly threatened to fire every employee, every year one employee, or every year 5 employee. This part did not happen.
The ones that have been here the longest. And in 4 years, you will have the exact same problem with the people that are newbies right now. The issue is not the employees, it's your training regimen. I sat down with him, we created a new 6-month training regimen. And guess what? I went back about a year later, did the same thing. All those people passed with flying colors. Not a single one of them answered my questions.
Well, there you have it. The deep voice with the confidence.
Yeah, that second half did not happen. That didn't happen. He didn't have some big grandiose confrontation where he had to be the hero to save all the year 5 employees because they made one mistake and all of their bosses were ready to fire them right there on the spot. I want names. We're all fired immediately instead of using it as an excuse to retrain them. That makes no sense on its face. The purpose in them hiring you to be a social engineer and to do this job is to find those vulnerabilities so they can fix them. Firing people wouldn't fix them. They want to find out what went wrong so they can fix it. They're not going to fire all of their most experienced devs because they all made this mistake instead of going, okay, well, if they're all making this mistake, then these people are smarter than that. If that many people made the same mistake, then the natural conclusion, I don't even have to work there to be able to come to the conclusion that, all right, something else is going on here. We can't fire our entire senior staff. Obviously, something else is happening. What do we need to do? Oh, you need to retrain them. Oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense. Yeah, that second part did not happen. He's not the big hero of the working man. Holy fuck, dude. It's this level of exaggeration and ego stroking that is the reason why people don't like him.
confidence and eloquence in his speech, as well as the whiteboard he was drawing on at the bottom that was meant to soothe any attention.
Confidently wrong is what you call that, which makes people believe you, because you can say the most absolutely wrong thing in a confident and commanding tone, and morons will believe it. And yes, I am calling the majority of his fan base morons.
Span issues Gen Z might have was the perfect combination. Additionally, this story made him out to be a genius, but not just any genius, a noble genius who saved 8 employees from losing their jobs by standing up to the evil boss. And where did that boss work? At some unknown company? No, he worked at the grand, prestigious video game company, Blizzard Entertainment. Yes, that's right. This guy right here, talking in such an amazing, eloquent tone, worked at Blizzard Entertainment. And that's something he would make sure to mention any chance he got.
When I worked at Blizzard, I did that for Blizzard.
The montage! He's doing the montage! Oh, it's so great. Yeah, he's doing the fucking montage that we've all seen a million times at this point. I'm even clipped this montage into a shorts version, because this guy didn't have a shorts version, and put it up on TikTok, and gave it to him to put up in his shorts, so... The creator of this kind of blew up with this montage. Also did make a montage of my own on my TikTok, but it's nowhere near as good as this guy's. Still got a bunch of views though. It's still pretty good. It was my montage showing him instigating the entirety of the internet and then playing victim when the internet responds back and answers his challenge. Where he's basically talking shit like, oh, I grew up on 4chan. I grew up on something awful forums. What, you guys think you can get to me? Good luck. Good luck. Okay, well, that's a challenge. You just challenged the internet to try to get under your skin. And then they did, and then you played victim. This is a cycle with him. He'll do that over and over again. This is lolcow behavior.
Blizzard, 7 years, yeah. Blizzard. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment.
Anyway, we'll get back to that later in the video, but for now, all you have to understand is that these shorts were extremely effective. Piratesoftware had gone from 13,000 subscribers to 1 million before the year even ended. That's 2 months, going from 13,000 to 1.1 million. And over time, his shorts have racked up almost 2.3 billion views, a massive, astounding achievement in such a short amount of time. But YouTube wasn't the only platform that benefited. I mean, these shorts...
Look at the fucking shorts views, man! And then you can see how they translate into long views. That's still a low retention rate, but that's how shorts work. Like, you're lucky if you can get 1 to maybe 10% of shorts viewers to actually transition into your long form content. I mean, it happens to me too. I'll put out a short. I make shorts of all my videos, previews of all the videos, to then try to promote the video itself. Without fail, the majority of those shorts will get the comment of people critiquing the short and my take in the short without watching the full video. And usually the thing that they comment to tell me I'm wrong about is something I address in the full video. And I'm like, well, of course, I kind of pick the clickbaity lines from the videos to make into a short. I want to, try to fucking rage bait people to some extent and to leave them, angry so that they go watch the full thing and realize, oh, he explained that later, like that's kind of the idea. It works on some, but there's always going to be a section of the fan base or of the internet that see that, of the viewer base that see that and then go, oh, you're a moron, and want to argue with you about the short. And then you tell them, hey, maybe go watch the full video before you comment. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Yeah, that's just... People who watch, there's going to be a section of people who watch short form content that are just never going to switch over to long form content. TikTok has killed Gen Z's attention span. They're like fucking goldfish now.
Shorts were highlights from...
Because he's got 3.2 billion here, and his long form views are 73.5 million, which is a lot, but it's nowhere near the billions. So if you were to take that and figure out what percentage of 2.3 billion it is, that's probably like 1 or 2%, maybe. I don't know. I don't feel like doing the math.
His streams, so of course people went to those streams to see the real thing live. And so his Twitch channel went from 400 concurrent viewers to thousands. And within barely 3 months, he was at over 8,000 concurrent viewers. That's top 1% of the top 1%. Now look, of course you might think, well, there are bigger streamers out there, of course, but even those streamers must have gotten envious sometimes because of how loyal and supportive Piratesoftware's community was.
He's got the presence of a cult leader, the confidence, the commanding tone, blah, blah, blah. Like, he sounds like an authority figure. He's not, but he sounds like it, which, again, works on dumb people to create this cult-like mentality. And that's why he has a cult-like fan base.
On December 2023, he would beat Twitch's hype train record. When enough people donate bits or gift subs, the hype train is activated, starting at level 1. While that's happening, a timer starts counting down to 0. If more people donate, the timer resets and they get to level 2. Piratesoftware's community had
And so on and so forth.
gotten him to level 55, and they discovered together that level 55 was actually the cap. No one had ever reached a hype train level this high on the entire platform. He had gotten over 7,000 subs and 1.8 million bits. If you don't know what this means, he had essentially made $50,000 in one stream.
Jesus fucking Christ. So you're beginning to see where his ego comes from, right? The fact that he got so big so fast and he was beginning to feel unstoppable. He's breaking records. He's making $50,000 in a single stream. You know, like he went from a 20 viewer Andy to this overnight. So yeah, it went straight to his head.
This guy's community was so unstoppable that it made everyone else be aware of his existence. So much so that he actually was able to get nominated to the Streamer Awards in December of 2020.
And you can see how the ride continues, and he keeps getting more and more egotistical as he gets more and more accolades that he, quite frankly, in my opinion, hasn't earned. He's too new. Like, there should be a cap for the Streamer Awards that you have to have X amount of time streaming experience to get an award. You can't be like an overnight sensation who got famous off a meme and then next year at the award show you're irrelevant. Like, that's just a bad look. Like, you've got to establish yourself first.
2023.
In my opinion, you should have to make a name for yourself first.
He was barely getting viral, but this is just how influential he was in such a short span of time. But what I want you to understand here is that the Streamer Awards actually have way bigger streamers than Piratesoftware and other category nominations. For example, like XQC or Kai Cenat. These streamers would of course send their own communities to go vote for them on the website, and they did so with no issues. But when Piratesoftware sent his community to vote for him, they crashed the fucking website. No other content
I don't understand. I don't understand how it got that. Is it autism? Like, how do you get this big this fast with a fan base this sycophantic? Like, this loyal? None of it feels earned. How have you earned this amount of loyalty literally overnight when you've got streamers who have established themselves, worked hard on their brand, and developed an audience and become, you know, millionaires in their own right, but they did it over the course of years, like XQC. And then they send their audiences, like none of their audiences react the way that they do because, I don't know, something about people like Piratesoftware just attracts crazy. Like, you see the same thing happen with, Hassan. You see it happen with even people like Carl Jobst and Dark Viper. Like, those guys are clearly autistic, but their fan base gets so rabid when you say even the meanest thing about it. It's so weird. I don't understand how fan bases like that come to form.
Creator had even come close to crashing the website. So it goes without saying that he won the Best Software and Game Development Streamer Award in 2023. He wasn't just absolutely killing it, the guy was speedrunning being a content creator, getting to 1 million subs, getting hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitch, winning streamer awards, and beating records when it came to
doing stuff in 1 year that it took everybody else years to do. And this is why I say that there should be a lifespan for these people. You have to you have to be at this many viewers for this amount of time to prove that you've got staying power before you're allowed to get an award. Because otherwise you get this guy who blew up and in a 2-month time span, you know, reaches millions, then breaks the website, then gets invited to the Streamer Awards, wins the award, and at this time next year, he's a lolcow and everyone hates him. Yeah, like, it just makes the awards look pathetic. Like, not real, because they're not real. I mean, it's obviously a popularity contest for their friends and not for real streamers. You got to be in the inner circle. Some people are never going to get an award, even if they have an audience bigger than his and deserve it. But anyway, that's all award shows. Yep. I'm calling out the Oscars too. I believe that they're the same thing. I believe all these award shows are rigged and they're just a way for all these celebrities to stroke their egos. This is no different. And he developed one of the biggest egos of the bunch.
Nations on Twitch. So of course, I say this with no exaggeration, the sky was the limit and the guy was barely getting started. If he could achieve that in just a couple of months, what could he achieve in years? Would he become a legend? Achieve stardom?
I mean, he has become a legend and he has achieved stardom, just not for the reasons he thought he would.
Either way, he was unstoppable until he wasn't. And he had no one to blame but himself.
Exactly.
The first incident that would begin his cataclysmic downfall was, in the most ironic way possible, in a World of Warcraft dungeon. Yes, Blizzard Entertainment's biggest game of all time. And it would become his worst nightmare. Guys,
oh, is this going to be the big OnlyFans event? I mean, we've covered it 100 times, but that clip never gets old. I can watch it again.
I don't think World of Warcraft needs any introduction, okay? It came out in 2004 and revolutionized gaming forever. Many games tried to copy it, many games tried to compete with it, they all died, and this game is still alive today.
They didn't all die. Some are still around. Like Guild Wars is still around. I believe EverQuest is still around. Yeah, there's some that are still around. But none ever reach the heights that World of Warcraft does. They'll get fan bases of their own. They'll carve out their own little niche, but they'll never touch World of Warcraft numbers. He's right. He's right about that part anyway.
In 2025. Now, throughout the years, it has received many different expansions, 9 in total. And while they would add more content, quests, story, sometimes new races, sometimes new classes, some of them would also permanently alter the game's fundamental mechanics. In other words, the game that you're playing now in 2025 is vastly different from the game that you would have played on release day. One could even go as far as saying that they're completely different games at this point. Seeing that so many people's most meaningful gaming experience while they were growing up was World of Warcraft,
it would be like playing Destiny 2 year one versus Destiny 2 now. They are completely different games.
A lot of them yearned for nostalgia. A lot of them wanted to...
And a lot of the Destiny fan base yearns for that back too, because they've taken so much out of that game and replaced it with stuff people don't like. World of Warcraft goes down. That's the problem with the live service games, is they all go down that same route. Although the good ones, like Fortnite, like World of Warcraft, they'll eventually bring back the original state of the game as like, well, Fortnite has its OG mode where you can just play the original map with the original guns, and World of Warcraft has WoW Classic, which is just, hey, this is the game as it existed in 2008, 2010, I forgot what year.
Relive those days.
2014, I think he said. I don't know.
All they had to do...
I don't know. I don't play World of Warcraft.
Was worry about mechanics from 10 or even 15 years ago. This would result in the rise of WoW private servers, unofficial servers ran by fans in which they would use old versions of the game. At some point...
Here's the difference between Blizzard and Nintendo. He's about to tell you the difference between Blizzard and Nintendo. Can anybody guess it? Can anybody guess it?
Blizzard would start taking down some of the most popular private servers and would cause community outrage, with many asking Blizzard directly, well, why are you going to take them down, seeing that there's demand for them, if you're not going to make one of your own? And so they took their sweet time, but
they eventually made one of their own, whereas Nintendo would have sent a cease and desist to all those people and given them nothing, because Nintendo hates its fans. Which, ironically, it almost seems like the more shit you talk to your fans and the bigger an asshole you are, the more sycophantic your fan base is. Nintendo is the Piratesoftware of gaming companies. They talk big game, and they don't exactly deliver on what they promise a lot of the time, but their fans don't seem to notice or care. They just continue to blindly follow them even when they're screwing them over.
Eventually, in the year 2019, they would launch World of Warcraft Classic, bringing back World of Warcraft exactly how it was back during patch 1.12.1 of September 2006.
Yeah, 2006. Okay, so they went all the way back to 2006 with it.
For the launch of its first ever expansion. It would run in parallel to the normal World of Warcraft of today and would slowly re-release its expansions, allowing...
Which, don't get me wrong, this is a great idea. I'm not an MMO guy, but 2006, this was the version my little brother was playing that cost him a wife. It led to his first divorce, which makes me wonder if he got back into it when they launched WoW Classic, because these people yearn for these older games when they get that addicted to them, and then they're taken away.
Allowing people to relive them once more. In the summer of 2023, World of Warcraft Classic would release the Hardcore Realms game mode. These are separate servers from normal ones in which you can create a new character, but if you die, you lose that character forever.
Another fan-made thing that they officially put into the game. So, I mean, I'll give Blizzard points there. Again, they took their sweet time with it, but yeah, that's when you see that fans are doing something and there's a demand for it, meet that demand. That's just smart business.
Hence why it was called Hardcore. And this is where Sodapoppin comes in, a streamer that has been streaming for over a decade now. In his early days, he was a popular World of Warcraft streamer, and when he saw the announcement of World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, he would create a hardcore streamer guild in October 2023, in which he and a bunch of other big streamers would try their best to level up their character to level 60 without dying, and eventually also try to do endgame content. It was a big success, so at the end of 2024, he decided to launch Season 2. This time, better and bigger than ever before. The amount of streamers that participated in this Season 2 was insane. There are streamers here who had never even played World of Warcraft, that were huge in games that they played. Some were League of Legends pros, some were Counter-Strike pros. I mean, the list went on. It was an astounding amount of people. And of course, one of the many big streamers that had joined OnlyFans was none other than Piratesoftware. Seeing that he had built such a massive influence over the year of 2024, adding him to the guild was seen as a net positive. It was seen as a good thing. Until one day...
Until it wasn't, because he's a terrible teammate.
Wasn't. The maximum level you could reach in World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore was level 60. And getting there, just by itself, is already an ordeal that lasts dozens of hours and sees you try your best to not die. Now, Dire Maul is a dungeon that you can only access if you're level...
Yeah, the Dire Maul run. Yeah, this is the one that we're all very familiar with.
58 at the minimum, and its appeal is the amount of great gear that it drops. Dungeons are typically ran by 5 people, so Piratesoftware and 4 other streamers decided to take this on in order to get better gear. Now usually, when you're in a dungeon or a raid, there's always a team leader, someone who calls the shots. It's a very stressful role, especially in a raid when you're managing a couple...
Yeah, you need that though. It's a stressful role and you need someone experienced to do it. I'm emphasizing the word experience because this will show you how Piratesoftware is lying in order to avoid accountability. Remember, he is supposed to be the experienced one in this situation. He is supposed to be the one who's got all these years of experience, not just playing the game, but actually working with the company that made it. So keep that in mind when you see him crash out. If you guys haven't seen the Dire Maul run, we've been over this 100 times, but if there's anybody who hasn't seen it, just in case you need a refresher, keep all of that in the back of your mind when you hear his explanation on how it's not his fault. Because you need a good shot caller. You need a good person running things. Like even in a Destiny raid, which is only 6 people, like I have been in Destiny raids that just completely fucking fell apart because there was no clear leader and everybody just kind of argued for most of it and it fell apart. You need that guy to call the shots and you need people who are there to listen and trust his judgment. Like it is an important and stressful role, and it's one that Piratesoftware should have been the one filling. And as far as I know, he very well may have been. But people aren't going to... That's the problem with getting that level of fame and stuff, is people end up being scared of you and scared to call you out, because if you attack them, then your whole fan base is going to attack... Yeah, like remember, these are all other streamers too. So they're not trying to rock the boat because they don't want to lose their audience to a bigger streamer, especially if it's a bigger streamer. And in the situation that he's about to show here, Piratesoftware was that bigger streamer.
Dozen people, and it's even crazier in hardcore World of Warcraft because whatever you decide might affect the accounts of the people playing. One wrong move and they lose dozens of hours of progress. And
hundreds even. Because remember, once their character dies, they're dead for good. And reaching max level and getting the gear that they got and doing all the stuff that they done could have taken hundreds of in-game hours.
It's all on you. I'm saying this because I want you to bear in mind that Piratesoftware is not the group leader here. But as silly as this sounds, the beginning of Piratesoftware's downfall was because of this dungeon and what you're about to see here. the YouTuber Dev, otherwise known
So from what I understand, he was the most experienced one, if we're to be believed that he worked for Blizzard for as long as he did, and he's been playing the game as long as he says he has. He, on paper anyway, by his own bragging, should have been the most experienced one in the group. So he, on a raid this important, with accounts that could be lost forever if you lose, he should have been the shot caller. These should have been his decisions. But you'll notice that he never wants to be that leader because he never wants to take accountability. And putting him in the leader role and things go south, there's no way for him to avoid taking accountability. There's no one else for him to blame. It would have been his fault.
as Short Fat Otaku, great name by the way, combined the perspectives of everyone who was streaming.
Oh, I hadn't seen this stream where he combined them all at once to just make them all into one montage.
The dungeon minus one person. One of them was Piratesoftware on the top right. As you're watching this, you're going to hear the team leader say, run. In World of Warcraft dungeons or raids, this means retreat, but help each other retreat. Not every man for himself. Don't care about your teammates. You're meant to stick around.
Yeah, the same way it would work in the military. If they say run, your sergeant calls for run, your sergeant calls for retreat. He doesn't mean everybody scatter like fucking cockroaches. Ironically enough, why it's called roaching. Everybody doesn't just scatter like cockroaches. You do a tactical retreat where you cover each other's back and make sure everybody can get out safely. That's what retreat means. Everyone knows this. And him, as the most experienced player, should have known this.
Try your best to outmaneuver the enemies while making sure your teammates also make it out with you. But as you might guess, that's not what happened here at all. Watch.
God damn it.
Run.
Just run. Guitar, are you dummy?
All right, so he said run. The team tries their best to make sure that they all get out together.
Massives. No.
Look at Piratesoftware.
Oh, see, are you fine?
And Piratesoftware is off by himself.
Any grenades, anything?
You can just
Heal him.
Yeah, you just heal me. Just come back a little bit.
What's on me? Sitting bear form.
Snuppy, just run.
I can help a lot. Yeah.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
And he gets called out. They notice he's already like halfway across the map and left them behind. So they call him on it. And here comes the response.
What are you talking about? Why am I walking?
This
Look
is
at my mana.
savage, but come
Innovate
on,
you?
man.
Kill
So his teammate told him,
He's like, what are you talking about? Why am I walking? I'm out of mana. What does that have to do with you not staying there and helping though? Like you can get more mana. They can cover you while you regenerate. Like that's no reason to go AWOL and abandon your group.
why are you walking, bro? This is salvageable. Come on, man. He doesn't care. He keeps running all by himself.
Just kill the mastiffs.
Innovate
Innovate the healer. Kill the mastiffs. We got this. In a sense of...
Or something?
Do you see my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
Just kill the mastiffs. One shot. Okay, we
There's
pulled
more on
another
the way.
now. The mastiffs can be ice novas.
Now we're gonna wait.
Musara?
Oh.
And then he starts calling out shots like he knows what he's doing or like everyone's supposed to be listening to him when, again, he wasn't shortcut. No, we're going to wait. Why are you telling them what to do? They ain't waiting. They're waiting for you to come back. That's what they're waiting for, bud.
Okay, get out.
Run.
Evocation's on cooldown, man.
I can taunt last.
How much mana is
as
ice?
well.
There's no that much mana.
You have a boss in you called run.
Getting slowed.
Fuck. Wait.
Anything for me?
Snuppy. Oh,
I
no.
don't
I gotta get rid of this bot.
think I cannot stun him. Also,
No,
good.
just run out.
So, that sounded like a massive fuck up, didn't it?
Yes, it did, Short Fat Otaku. Bear in mind, Piratesoftware's excuse here was, I have no mana, I can't help you, when he clearly had 2 items in his inventory.
Yeah, like everyone watching your stream can see your inventory, dude. Like, why did you think this would work?
That could bring back up his mana. He could have totally helped and saved his 2 teammates that ended up dying, losing all their progress.
Damn it,
This
you're
was
not
a
Bella.
disaster. One of his teammates, Yamato, on the left here, confronted him and was asking him what happened, like what's going on? And this was what Piratesoftware had to say right after the fact.
You instantly ran. You didn't even look
As much
back.
as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
I'm not angry at all.
You
I'm not angry at all.
overpulled 2 packs. You overpulled 2 packs and a boss. I had 1,400 mana left. I had to spend all of that mana to try and put it on Blizzard to save you guys in the first place, and nothing left. You weren't paying attention to
Absolutely no word of that was true.
party resources. You overpulled, and you weren't paying attention to where the boss was. That's not on me.
So 2 of his teammates pretty much lost everything. He very clearly ran on his own when he could have just said, you know what, look, yes, I panicked, I screwed up, my bad, sorry. But he instead decides to...
Yeah, that's all he had to say, and it probably would have just blown over. I mean, they're going to clown on you a little bit, but it would have been over in a week. Instead, here we are, months later, still talking about it and people making videos on it, because the longer you go without taking accountability for something that's clearly your fault, the more people are going to shine a light on it. Just take the accountability. Be an adult. You're supposed to be an adult. Be a fucking adult.
Blame his entire team except for himself. It was your guys' fault for pulling in the enemies. It was your guys' fault for calling run in the middle of a fight. It was your guys' fault for this and that. This was very weird behavior. I mean, this is just a game, and he was acting like if he apologized, he would be committing a cardinal sin or something.
I mean, to be fair, it is more than just a game for these guys. It's literally their job. It's literally their livelihood. So the more in a bad light he paints them, the more they're going to have to defend themselves, because you can't let the internet think that you fucked up and that could affect your audience, and lowering your audience means lowering your income. So yeah, they're going to push back on that. As well they should.
Something. It made his teammates very uncomfortable to the point where the guild leader had to step in. Now, Sodapoppin was initially the guild leader, but then, unexpectedly, he dueled Tyler 1, who had leveled up to level 60 and became a very important member of the guild, in a fight that would determine who the new guild master would be. What no one was expecting, though, was that Tyler 1 would beat Sodapoppin, becoming the guild master. Seeing that this was becoming a big guild issue, he had to step in and brought both Yamato and Piratesoftware into a call in order...
How is that for, like, first day on the job kind of stuff? Where you get lucky and win a duel against a more experienced player, giving you complete ownership of the guild, and then as soon as you get ownership of the guild, this happens, and you're like, what do I do? You have to deal with the biggest drama the fucking guild's ever seen.
To squash the beef once and for all. The result? A catastrophe. Watch.
What do you want, man?
Let me say it again.
He already said his piece.
Pirate.
Go on.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear God.
I want to speak to him because I didn't speak to him correctly. I said it again. We all did mistakes, bro. Like I didn't say, we are just blaming you. It's about the zero accountability is what makes us so mad.
There's no zero
You see the
accountability,
point?
dude. Everyone can do something better.
you-
But when you open up and
No,
you get
Yeah, but somebody made more mistakes than... Somebody's mistake carried more weight than others. Did all of them make mistakes? Yeah, that whole raid fell apart. But somebody's mistake was bigger than the others. Don't try to equalize it and sound like, well, I made a mistake, we all made mistakes, and try to play it off. No, your mistake was clearly bigger. It was the much bigger mistake.
yell over another
No,
person
listen,
like you
can
were doing
I
earlier?
speak?
Nah, I'm good.
You
See ya. I'm not doing that shit again with him. Nah, he did it the first time. I'm not doing it a second one. Not interested.
I mean, this is so weird. Yamato was being as mature
Like fucking children. Yeah, and that guy was being super friendly, and he acts like this.
as possible here, saying, listen, this was all our fault. We're not blaming you. We just want you to admit, just like we've admitted, that we all screwed up, and he couldn't even say that. Leaving the call like an immature, disrespectful baby as Yamato was talking. This not only rubbed his dungeon teammates the wrong way, it rubbed the entire OnlyFans guild as well as the viewers the wrong way. As criticism was
Rightfully
mounting,
so.
Piratesoftware was for the first time confronting massive controversy coming his way. At any point in time, he could have just simply apologized and moved on. Instead,
True.
he only chose to double down, playing the victim and saying that other streamers and OnlyFans just want to cause problems with him for no reason whatsoever.
Content is causing drama and problems.
Yeah, that's what happened. Absolutely no reason. They all made it up. It's all in their heads, man. It's mass delusion, and you're the only sane one in the group, right?
There's a lot of streamers actually in this guild that want to cause problems specifically with me, and have even stated so publicly on their Twitch, saying that they want to have a fight with me for content. That's not content.
No, that's content. That's content. People like drama. Debates are hugely popular. Yeah, that's content. It's just not content you want to make because you know you'll lose that fight.
That's dog shit.
You're happy to pick fights when you think you can win, but you don't want to get in a fight if you think that you're going to lose. The minute you realize that the fight isn't going your way, you nope out. Bitch behavior.
Ridiculous. Keep it. Not going to be a part of it.
I mean, seriously, why would people just want to attack you unprovoked for no reason whatsoever? What a cruel world we live in. The bulk of these events would unfold
Yep,
from
the victimhood mentality starting.
January 10th to January 12th, 2025. By that time, Piratesoftware would have received so much criticism, so much hate, that he felt compelled to post a long tweet explaining his point of view on Twitter, saying, "To those trying to character assassinate me online for a bad pull in Dire Maul WoW Hardcore, this is Hardcore WoW and a lot is on the line when you step foot into a dungeon. Here is a light breakdown of the last 24 hours. Our party went the wrong way and overpulled multiple packs with the boss. The shot caller made the call to run, then went back on that call. During the run out, another pack was pulled as we had opted to skip it."
So why didn't you follow the shot caller when he went back on it? You could have went back and saved them. So you're accurately describing what happened, but you're leaving out where you didn't follow the shot caller shots. You didn't follow orders. You went AWOL.
Previously, which is never a good thing. Communication was completely broken throughout this, and it was our second time failing the dungeon. Everyone played poorly.
No, everyone was communicating. You were talking over them to bitch about your mana. Everybody else was on the same page. You were the one who was ruining communication by filling comms with arguments about your mana while you're 800 feet on the other side of the dungeon away from your party. If you're not going to go back and help them, then at least shut up so they can communicate to get themselves out of the situation you've left them in.
And 2 people ultimately lost their characters for it. Each person in this group made mistakes, including myself. I have never once said I was
The closest to accountability you're going to get from them. The equivalent of, "I'm sorry you feel that way." It's not taking accountability. It's a soft apology. It tricks the stupid.
perfect in my play, nor that I was a god gamer. I'm just an ex-Blizzard employee that has played Mage for a long time. To pin that on a single person is absurd at best, and if you're calling for death and cancellation over it, you're too invested in this content in a very unhealthy way. If you're
No one's saying the entire thing went south because of you. They're saying that it went further south because of you. That had you turn around, it could have been salvaged, or at least lives could have been saved as you helped them escape. You probably couldn't have saved the dungeon run. You maybe couldn't have even saved both the characters that died, but you definitely could have saved one. So that's your fault. The whole thing isn't your fault. No one said that. This is, again, where he takes a little nugget of truth and expands upon it to catastrophize it.
Creator engaging this kind of behavior, then eventually your content wave will end, but the relationships you've sullied will be permanent. Hope it was worth it for you. To those trying to defend me, don't worry about it. This too shall pass. Do not attack anyone else on my behalf. I've always hated that kind of behavior. I have no intention of stopping making things or not doing stuff as I have already been. Those who are banned will stay so. I've never liked that kind of knee-jerk reaction behavior in our community before, and I will not be changing that now. For those that don't understand why they will stay banned, we had a 10-hour long hate raid over it live on Twitch. We had to ban nearly 4,000 accounts across all platforms.
Considering what he bans accounts for, I'm taking that with a huge grain of salt. He's banned people for asking him if he worked at Blizzard when you don't know if they're trolling or if they're people genuinely going, I mean, I heard this guy worked at Blizzard. I want to go ask him. They could be legitimate people asking. He has banned for legitimate criticism. He's banned for people asking a legitimate question. And he's banned for new people coming to the stream trying to figure out what's going on. And they just happen to say one of the buzzwords that sounds like a meme because they heard the memes. So he bans for almost anything, which means you didn't have to ban 4,000 people. I don't believe that for a second.
And our moderators received death threats regularly throughout it all. People called for me to be killed.
I mean, I believe that, but I don't believe that you had to ban 4,000 people in chat. I will believe you banned 4 people. I don't believe you had to. That would be like, that level of hate raid would have attracted some attention from Twitch. There's just no shot that it was so bad that you had to ban 4,000 people and none of Twitch staff noticed. For a streamer as big as you, no shot, dude. No shot.
Both in-game and out-of-game. They tried to get me banned from Twitch, the guild, and WoW. They tried to make disparaging comments about our ferret rescue or that we somehow hurt animals. They tried to spread rumors saying I was convicted of felonies and many other things. The internet hate machine will not defeat me or the community that supports me. See you in WoW Hardcore tomorrow.
I'll believe there were people that said that. I don't believe there were 4,000 people that said that. That's the difference. Just so I'm clear before anyone goes, no, they did that, I saw them. I don't believe 4,000 people in his chat said that. I'm sure some did. I'm sure that happened. People on the internet are crazy. I'm not going to argue that. I don't believe it was as... I believe he's exaggerating the fuck out of it. I don't think it was as bad as he's making it out. Not initially. Now, the longer he's gone without taking accountability, the bigger this thing has gotten. It has gotten blown out of proportion now, but At the time that he's writing this, when this happened, nah.
So this was posted on January 13th, 2025. And while he did admit that everyone in the group made mistakes, including himself, it truly didn't feel genuine. It seemed like it was absolutely impossible for him to just say, I'm sorry, I misplayed. He just couldn't do it. Someone pointed that out, saying, where's the I messed up? And
Yeah, where's the my bad?
Piratesoftware said, apparently you have no idea how to read. Hope this helps, highlighting the paragraph in which he said, each person in this group made mistakes, including myself. Again, it was worded in a disingenuous way. He just...
Yeah, it's the I'm sorry you feel that way. Everybody made mistakes, including myself, but we're not going to say what my mistakes were or take ownership of them, just that we all made mistakes. You're trying to make your mistake sound equal to the other people's when it's not. It's not. Your mistake was bigger. Everyone did make mistakes, that part is true, but you made the biggest mistake. Okay, yours carried more weight, especially considering the amount of experience you had compared to the other guys. Yeah.
Couldn't take individual accountability here, no matter what. The top comment was a WoW streamer known by Joker D saying, just take the L, it's not that hard, to which Piratesoftware said, hope this was worth it for you. So overall, this entire response didn't really help him at all. And even if it did, he would single-handedly ruin any progress it might have had in the coming days. He would double down, triple down, quadruple down, quintuple down, and eventually sextuple down, only to call OnlyFans a content guild built on hate.
And a lot of it was from a rogue that was bitching the entire time about every goddamn thing that was going on except for his own play. But the mage is the one at fault because the mage is the hero class and the mage has to do everything perfectly. Everyone in that played badly. The druid butt pulled an extra pack on the way out. The tank chose to take us into a bad route through the entirety of the dungeon, pull 2 packs and the boss at the same time. I, as the mage...
Did you call any of that out along the way, though? As the more experienced player, did you give them this feedback to be like, hey, I don't think this route's the best route. Hey, I think maybe we could do this better. Did you offer any of your expertise and experience along the way? Or did you see the bad thing happen and continue to just walk face first into it? That doesn't make you sound any smarter, man. Like, this isn't the big explanation you think it is. Why didn't you, jump in there?
Went into that fight with 40% mana, tried to use my resources, used them poorly, and got myself out when the call was made to run, which, by the way, was made by them as well. Everyone played badly. In fact, the only person who didn't was the healer. And I explained that in the Twitter post, but no one wants to hear that shit. Because they want it to be a double down, a triple down, a quadruple down. They want to have a villain. They want to have an enemy. They want to fight that shit into the ground. They want to send death threats to people over it. Because they're goddamn insane. Because this guild has turned into a content guild built on hate, not a...
It's a guild consisting of only streamers. It's an entire guild of streamers. It's a content guild. By design. That's what it's always been. The success of the content from the first season you weren't in is why they did a season 2 and invited you. It was always about the content. Always. These are people making a living being in this guild and creating content. It didn't turn into a content guild. See, this is him just reframing history in front of everyone's eyes. No, it was always a content guild. Always. It was designed to be so.
A content guild built on experiences. Because they're freaking monsters, dude.
It's just crazy how we got to this point and we're not even halfway through this drama, and all he had to really realistically do was look at the camera and say, you know what, I'm sorry. We all
Yeah, my bad. That's all you had to do. He's not wrong.
Played, yes, but I screwed up by running away the way I did. I had 2 items that could have restored my mana so I could help the 2 people who died, but I just simply panicked and ran away, and so even though we all misplayed, I just want to say I'm sorry for my play. But no, it was too hard for him. Guys, he worked at Blizzard, and Blizzard employees simply don't make mistakes. That's a given. As Piratesoftware was too busy playing the victim, a clip of the streamer lolcow surfaced in which he was doing a dungeon with Piratesoftware. You see, lolcow is someone who had never played World of
Whoopsie! Looks like we may be establishing a pattern here.
Warcraft up until this point. He was playing a mage just like Pirate, but he was kind of having a hard time keeping up with everything going on. Here's how Pirate treated him. I'm sure you can tell from the title. Piratesoftware bullying a totally new player to the game. Pathetic, dude. Watch.
You basically have to evocate to get your mana back for the next pull.
Reminded me, sorry, I don't play the game, so I forgot.
This guy is Just listen to the condescending way he talks to a brand new player who even says, hey, remind me these things. I'm new to the game, so if I make a mistake, let me know. That's that guy, letting you know, just being an honest, genuine dude. Look, I'm new. If I'm making a mistake, if I'm fucking up, if there's something I should be doing I'm not thinking about or I'm forgetting to do, then by all means tell me. All sounds very reasonable. And instead of Piratesoftware telling him what to do or being like, no problem, bud, I'll guide you through it, and, you know, offering his advice, instead he does this.
Yeah. If you remind me, I can help you up.
Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the party. You're right, Jen.
Instead, he is a condescending prick. Yeah, I'm the only mage in the party. Yeah, it's a shame there's no one's gonna help. Oh man, it all falls to me. The dude literally said, if you need me to do something to help, just tell me what you need me to do. He's not picking up on this stuff because he's new. He doesn't know what you expect of him. So just sitting there complaining that he's not doing something without telling him what the thing is he's not doing doesn't help anybody. It just makes you an asshole. You're a condescending asshole. You're yelling at somebody who doesn't know what to do and making fun of them for not knowing for not knowing when they already admitted they don't know. Fuck, dude.
If only someone else would cast Arcane. If only.
Can't really keep wishing for things that just aren't here, though.
That's true. That's true. Can't wish for the rogue. Can't wish for another mage.
The problem with these kinds of nerds is they're all way too polite because they're trying to politely tell them like, hey, you can't keep saying you wish for it. Maybe try to make it happen. Maybe tell the guy, you know, he's not going to do it on his own. They're trying to politely tell him, yeah, this guy's not going to do it on his own. He doesn't know to do that. And instead of, you know, fixing the problem, he just agrees with them and just like jumps on, which kind of a dick move on their part too. But at this point, you got to remember, guys, at this point, Piratesoftware is so big and these guys are so like, your average World of Warcraft player is a bit docile. They're a bit, you know, antisocial. They're all kind of scared. They're non-confrontational. And at this point in his career, he's the biggest streamer in the group. So they're all kind of scared to just call him out on it. All right? I don't know why people get scared of big streamers. I'll call one out. I don't care how big they are. But especially people like them, some of them are probably even fans of him and are just excited to be playing with him, so they don't want to step on his toes. So he gets away with this bullshit. And thankfully, he's not getting away with it anymore.
Yes, Arcane.
Yeah.
Brother, may I have some oats? Oh, since we have 2 mages, we could probably poly the ads.
Wait, we have 2 mages. Oh. Man.
Yeah, I can poly.
Here I've been the only one casting Arcane. Incredible.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's wild, right?
God, even reality TV can't recreate such an awkward moment, man. Just ruining the whole vibe.
Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the party. You're right, Jen.
Hey man, I'm new to the game, so if you want me to help with Arcane, just let me know, remind me. Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the game, right chat? Oh, we have 2 mages. Oh, I didn't know that. All that in the face of a new player who was being nothing but nice, honestly.
Yeah, who was just, you're just like roasting the dude and making him feel small in front of everybody. When he admits right off gate, like, I don't know what I'm doing, just let me know. God, see, and this dude's nicer than I would have been, because I've literally raged at people on this channel and called them on it and gotten super pissed when they do that shit to me, and they're my friends, and you know what, to be fair to them, they don't realize they're doing it because they're also mad. Fighting games get a little heated, and then they just keep screaming at me that something's easy when they see me struggling to do this thing that may be easy for them because they've got way more experience with fighting games than I do. I'm still learning. It's obviously a struggle for me. I can't do it yet. So stop screaming it's easy and help me learn it instead. And they just keep saying it's easy and like clowning me for not being able to do it. And then eventually I just snap. Like, you just snap. And I'm surprised this guy didn't just, props to him for not just fucking snapping. Because I'll just snap and be like, motherfucker, I don't know how. I'm trying. What do you want from yeah, and I just lose it. This guy's way nicer than me. Because that's what he should have done. That's what a normal human being would do with a guy acting the way that Pirate Software is acting and making him feel like shit for not knowing a thing when he told you in the beginning, I don't know how to do this thing. Oh man, it's infuriating. I'm getting worked up just talking about it. I don't understand how this asshole has a fan base.
And yet Pirate Software had the gall to complain about being bullied by other content creators when he was literally doing that to someone as innocent as Lolcow.
True.
The combination of all this would force SodaPuppin to take the
pot meat kettle
decision of kicking Pirate Software from OnlyFans, pinging everyone in the OnlyFans Discord and saying this: yes, I made a decision to kick Pirate. I felt
it's the only time you'll see him take some kind of accountability. This was the first little taste of it he got, is when that accountability is forced upon him. He got kicked out of the guild. It's not like he left willingly or to be the bigger man. No, he was forced to take that accountability and issued a punishment. And how did he take that?
A large majority of people in the guild felt uncomfortable playing or being around him and all that drama that surrounded him at this point. Even though some people may have not felt that way, a lot did. And after seeing some clips today from him quadrupling down, or I don't know what number we're on at this point, I think I'm making the right decision, but still I feel bad. Try to just let this whole
takes a little... All of their little jokes and shots are going to be very tame just because that's the nature of the World of Warcraft player. That's just kind of people that play the game. They're not very confrontational people, but that's probably the closest that you're going to get there is him going, I don't know what number we're on at this point, just taking a quick light jab at him.
Things slide into forgetfulness and move on, in my opinion. Stay safe, gamers. So look, at the end of the day, in World of Warcraft in general, when you're in a raid or dungeon, you have to trust every single member on your team to make sure that not only you complete the raid or dungeon, but that you also survive. This also applies on a way bigger scale in World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, because one bad teammate can cost you the account that you've put dozens or even hundreds of hours in. And people...
True. It takes way longer to get there in WoW Classic. WoW Classic was a full-time job, man. MMOs back in the day, there was a reason it was a certain type of person that played it, because they were such a big time investment. You know, MMOs in 2025, the MMOs of today, the newer ones that are out, and even the newer version of WoW, those are the ones that aren't nearly as big of a commitment in time because they are trying to feed you the dopamine rush, because people's attention spans in 2025 have gotten shorter. And if you don't constantly reward those people with something, a new level, a new piece of gear, a new something, you don't keep that dopamine drip coming, then they're just going to leave and go play something else. Not to mention there's so much competition and so many other games to play in 2025 that World of Warcraft didn't have back when it launched in 2000. You know, it was just the only game in town. So it could be slow and grindy and very different, and people would stick with it. Nowadays, if you don't constantly give them a dopamine hit, they're not going to stick with your game. They're just going to go play something else. There's so many other options. Like, why would I waste my time spending hundreds of hours to get to the max level when I can go play this game and be at max level in a day or two, and then I can go ahead and start grinding my gear. Like you've seen it with Diablo 4. That's why I stopped playing. I actually prefer the slower paced version of Diablo because I grew up with Diablo 2. I like the fact that it takes me a month to reach max level and that it takes me a long time to get those items and get that gear. It feels more rewarding when I finally have it and then I can do the big in-game content, as opposed to starting a new season and doing all the content in that season within a month, because I can just immediately skip the leveling process. You don't even have to level up anymore. You can literally click a button to skip and have your character be created at max level, and then just go straight to the end of the game and start getting your gear. And gear drops like, I mean, they pass it out like fucking Halloween candy now. So within a week, you've got a full max set of gear, and you can just start grinding out the harder ranks. Yeah, you can be done with everything in the game in a month max. And then you're done for the whole season. And that just doesn't feel as rewarding to me, which is why I don't play it as much.
People just couldn't trust someone who couldn't take any accountability like Pirate Software. As soon as things would have gone wrong, he would have probably just ran for his life and said he had no mana again. And not many people really felt sorry for him because at the end of the day, he was the embodiment of this meme. No one was forcing him to sextuple down. No one was forcing him to bully a new player. The only person who was shooting themselves in the foot with a shotgun was none other than Pirate Software. At this point, Jason Thor Hall, otherwise known as Pirate Software, was slowly but surely becoming a lolcow, but he had no idea. But that was normal.
By design, lolcows don't know they're lolcows.
example, because fundamentally speaking, a lolcow is never aware that they're a lolcow. Look,
that's what makes them so great, is that they'll continue to do the funny thing even though the internet's going to call them on it. That's what makes them a lolcow, is that they are going to continue to make these mistakes over and over again that bring you laughs. They're going to continue to do the crazy, insane thing that makes people go, what the fuck, and makes you laugh at them, because they don't realize it's wrong. And even when you tell them it's wrong, they tell you you're wrong, and they just double down, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. Yeah, that's what makes lolcow so great. That's why they're so popular.
there are a lot of definitions of what a lolcow is, but if I had to sum it up, well, it would be very simple. It's someone who simply embodies the worst of the worst when it comes to human traits, but they would be constantly convinced that they are the perfect human being, never able to admit fault, and never willing to even when they know that they're in the wrong. This by itself becomes very entertaining, and there are many examples. They come in all shapes, sizes, and even colors. And the mage who ran out of mana was about to join their ranks imminently. All he had to do to avoid this fate was just fucking apologize, man. But he just couldn't. In fact,
the simplest of tasks lead to career-ending decisions. This is what makes a lolcow. It's usually something so simple, and they're so blinded by ego that they can't even do the simple thing. And they'll make a mountain out of a molehill because their ego won't allow them to do the one thing that could have stopped it 6 months ago. It's hilariously sad. It's sad at first, and then it reaches a point where it's hilarious because, now he's doing it to himself. You feel bad for him at first, and then they reach a point where they've done it so much, you're like, okay, there's no way I can still feel bad for this person because they've been told they should know better and they don't. Now it's their fault.
What he ended up doing was maybe one of the cringiest things in this entire video. I genuinely can't believe that someone in his 30s said this, but watch this yourself. You'll know what I mean.
I didn't get this deep. Stop feeding into it. All of the accounts that are messaging me are getting reported. There's a funny fact about this. I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. There's a whole lot of other people there that still know me, and all of these reports are going directly to them. They're well.
Guys, my uncle works for Nintendo. You're gonna get banned. You're gonna get banned, guys. God, that energy, man.
Aware of the situation, and everybody who's messaging me, they're gonna get read. It's kind of a dumbass thing to do, and I can't wait for all of them to get banned. Yep.
Yeah, so all you guys whispering me right now with these threats, well, guess what? My dad works at Nintendo, and I'm going to tell him personally
yeah, the Nintendo
about
meme.
Every single one of you, so good job. See you later.
He's literally the meme!
It's like, bro, if they're sending you death threats, you really just have to report them in-game, and I'm sure something will happen. You don't have to actually bother.
What's the other meme? Where the guy has the t-shirt on? And he's holding the piece of paper that's like, here's a list of all the embarrassing and personal things about me. Please don't use them to bully me. And he's just handing you the list. This is fucking Piratesoftware's entire career, dude.
Other your Blizzard alumni. This clip was on January 14th. And guys, I swear to you, I am constantly impressed by how ironic life can be. I don't think we live in a simulation, but sometimes I do get the feeling because some things are just so perfect in comedic timing, you'd think that there was someone writing a script. One day after this clip came out, Piratesoftware was streaming the game Ashes of Creation during its second alpha. This is an MMORPG similar to World of Warcraft, and it also has raids as well as dungeons. During a raid, Piratesoftware would wipe the entire—
Oh yeah, this is the one where it is undeniably his fault and he straight up blamed other people. Then you show him it's his fault. I think he got kicked out of this game or banned from this game because of it and still wouldn't admit it was his fault. Holy fuck, dude. This is probably a better example than everyone talks about the WoW raid. I think this one's a much better example of this.
Entire team. You would kill everyone single-handedly.
Yeah, pulling this one mob would kill your entire team.
Pulling in the wrong unit. What would be his first reaction? Well, watch for yourself.
Sabu is not paying attention.
He pulled in the enemy.
Sabu.
And he died.
God damn it, guys.
No, he pulled the ocular.
And everybody else calls it, who pulled it, who pulled it. It was literally Piratesoftware who pulled it and got everyone killed. You could see it in the clip. That guy called it when he did it. He did it, he died, and then he blamed his teammates. He's a guy in Call of Duty that goes down to talk to all my normal gamers out there. He's that guy in Fortnite or that guy in Call of Duty who separates from the rest of the team, runs out on their own, dies, and then blames you for not following him when you didn't know he left. Every death they have is someone else's fault.
So one of you pulled the ocular. Why? Now half
It was you, motherfucker!
the raid is dead. Was there a reason for that?
See, just his verbiage and the way he talks. The way he talks like an adult talking to a child. He talks to everyone else like they're children, like he's the adult in the room. He's the smartest one in the room. But they're not your kids. These other people aren't kids, and you're not in the right. None of this lands. It's the constant talking down to people.
I swear, it is so funny knowing that he was the one who pulled the ocular. This is also another thing with lolcows. They are unintentionally hilarious. Piratesoftware here was genuinely pissed, okay? He genuinely was livid. But knowing that he was the one who caused the wipe is so fucking funny. It showed people that World of Warcraft wasn't an isolated case. He was doing this in Ashes of Creation and would very easily do this a third time somewhere else. It was him. He was the issue here. And his
He did it again. He's establishing a pattern here.
lack of accountability was astounding. But you know what else is astounding?
DSP energy, acting like he's a professional at a game and then like failing miserably at it. Which, by the way, speaking of DSP and his newest clips, a little side tangent here. I saw his clips from the new Donkey Kong game. I don't believe DSP is this stupid. I believe DSP has become fully self-aware of the fact that these clips get him attention, this attention gets him new viewers, and new viewers mean new money. He makes money off the detractor channels by content IDing their videos of him and, you know, claiming the revenue. And he makes viewers from the people who want to go watch him play because they want to see the guy who's that bad. The fucking meme that, I think since that meme started, he's become fully aware of it. The meme of gaming journalist tries to play and then they show a clip of DSP. There's no way anyone's that bad at Donkey Kong. Just like his Doom clip where he stood in the corner going, I can't move, what am I supposed to? He's not that stupid. I think he knows that this is going to get clipped and memed and made into money for him. I think DSP is playing you all like fiddles.
His ability.
Piratesoftware, on the other hand, he's not self-aware yet, and that's why it's so funny.
To keep digging himself in deeper holes. During this whole fiasco, Joker D would talk about Piratesoftware and would call him out.
I honestly fuck Piratesoftware. Like, straight up, bro, this dude is a complete fraud. At least in the WoW space, I don't care if he worked for fucking Blizzard. The guy probably made fucking coffee for some.
Yeah, he's a fraud, and this guy called it. I mean, some of us were able to recognize it quicker than others.
Some devs. I don't even believe for a second.
So out of all the streamers in OnlyFans, Joker D probably went the hardest on Piratesoftware. He took segments of this rant and uploaded
Deserved.
it as a YouTube video. That YouTube.
Yeah, and then he addressed the Doom clip and made it seem like they purposefully cut that clip out to make it. Yeah, I think he's playing them all like fiddles. He knows that if he plays the game poorly, they're going to clip it. And then if he crashes out over the clip, it's going to get him more attention. I think this has become his business model. I think he is fully aware. I think DSP is fully aware. Piratesoftware, definitely not aware. DSP, I think he's learned that this makes him money. He saw the numbers. He saw all his numbers go up. Viewership numbers, bank account numbers, all his numbers go up every time he gets trolled. So he stopped fighting the trolls and started playing into it. He knows what makes him money. It's how he survived on the internet as long as he has.
YouTube video would then be removed due to a violation of community guidelines, and the person who striked it cited the reason as being harassment and cyberbullying. One could only guess who took this video down. I mean, seriously.
See, because if DSP really did hate these troll channels, he'd take the videos down like Piratesoftware just did. But if he content IDs them and claims the video, he gets the ad revenue from it, but the video stays up. He's fine being trolled as long as it's making him money. Piratesoftware just wants it to stop, but he wants it to stop without taking accountability. He wants it both ways. He doesn't realize that all he has to do is take accountability. No matter how many times people tell him he can't bring himself to do it. That's what makes him a true lolcow and funny. DSP stopped being a lolcow a while ago, which is why he turned down $50,000 from Keemstar to be on Lolcow Live, because DSP knows he's not a lolcow. He knows he's not really a lolcow. He's playing one on TV. He's acting the part, but I think he stopped being a lolcow a while ago. I think he was at first, and then he became self-aware. And now it's just an act he puts on.
Joker D would never reveal the name of the brand or whatever that was behind this, but seeing that the video had gotten brigaded by Piratesoftware's community, for many it was safe to say that Piratesoftware was the one who took this video down because he simply didn't like it.
Oh, of course it was. Who else would take it down?
Using the copy strike system on YouTube. Seeing that Pokemon had done this in the past back in 2020, getting an amazing community reaction, and of course we can't forget about Alinity doing this as well back in 2018. Wow, I'm old.
I'm gonna copy strike this guy.
I mean, it was genius.
Yeah, those get called out for it because those aren't making profit off of it. That's why they copy strike. When you don't care about the money and you just want the criticism to stop, then you abuse it, which, by the way, it is an abuse of the copyright system. That's not what the copyright system's for. It's not so you can take down videos you don't like. Criticism is legal. So it's not the same. But DSP never strikes anybody, which I find odd for somebody who's supposed to be a lolcow who can't handle criticism. He never does anything to actually try to silence said criticism.
It worked so well for every content creator who had done that prior. So obviously, this was the play. Congratulations. You know, it's so fascinating to me how the internet works sometimes. Someone could mind their own business for months, for years, for decades. But as soon as they do something that makes them so incredibly unlikable, the internet starts seeing a big red target on your back and they strike.
Yeah, but they don't always stay that way. You can pull yourself out of it if it is an honest mistake and people clown on you. And then there's a way to come back. There's a way to come back from it. Many have. The reason that they latch on to people like Piratesoftware is because the mistake that he made exposed who he really is, and then people start to see that, oh shit, this is who you are. This isn't a mistake. This is who you are. And then it just becomes a, you know, people hate you for who you are and not the mistake that you made, as opposed to somebody making a genuine mistake, acknowledging the mistake, admitting to it, owning up to it, and then you know, going back to their content and trying to make shit right. That's the difference. The lack of accountability points to a bigger personality flaw, and people will latch on to that because they feel like if they call it out enough, eventually one of two things will happen. Either you'll finally get the message and change, or you'll quit streaming and the internet can be rid of this person who's, you know, who's a bad influence on other people on the internet. Like, he's a bad example. He's just, yeah, you don't want this guy around. Because this person, especially if it's someone who's reached the level of fame that Piratesoftware has, in the short amount of time that Piratesoftware did. The fame feels unearned, and when you find out that someone's entire career, their entire claim to fame is based off fraud, yeah, people want to, they don't want to just laugh at you anymore. They want to fucking destroy you. And rightfully so. No one likes a fraud. Yeah, the only thing DSP doesn't like is people re-uploading his full streams before he gets them on YouTube, or rebroadcast them while he's live so that people view yeah, he doesn't want the same thing H3 doesn't want. He doesn't want market replacements that steal views from him. But if you're doing clips, you know, after he's already made his money from that stream, well, that's just extra money. He's not an idiot. It's fun to make fun of DSP and to laugh at him, but I think he's playing a character, and that character is funny. I think he does a good job of playing the lolcow character, but I do believe it is a character. It's not really who he is. For Piratesoftware, this is really who he is.
Piratesoftware had a talent of building up a huge, loyal community in just the span of a couple of months. When January 2025 came by, though, he proved to us that he had another talent, building up a massive community of very loyal haters. These incidents that we just talked about had...
Yeah, he's the guy. He has that perfect personality, that perfect blend of traits, combined with the insufferable confidence and condescension that make him someone you love to hate. He's got, you know, Bond villain energy.
ensured that. This is when those very same haters would start scrutinizing every single aspect of Pirate Software, both as a brand and as a person, only to eventually dismantle this massive empire that he had built. Now look, just to be clear, Pirate Software has always had haters, dating all the way back to September 2024, and there were earlier instances too. This is normal. When you get famous, when you take over the algorithm the way he did, some people will naturally get fatigued from you. I mean, you might not believe this, but
some people hate you simply because you're famous and they don't understand why you're famous. You see this with Mr. Beast. I mean, Mr. Beast is constantly doing things that, like, when you think about it, these are things that you should be champion. Even if you don't like him as a person, you should still be champion the things that he's doing. Because he's a billionaire and he's doing what we wish all the other billionaires would do. He's out there. He literally cured a bunch of people's blindness. He's constantly giving back. Yeah, like he's constantly trying to give back to his community for the massive wealth that he's obtained. And he's found a way to make giving back to the community that he came from a profitable business so that he can do it indefinitely. What other billionaire gives back? Elon Musk has hundreds of billions of dollars, the most money of any man on earth. And the only time he donates is for his personal interest. Now, people will say that, everything that Mr. Beast donates is for his interest because he makes money off of it. Yeah, but it's going back to the actual community. When I say that Elon Musk only donates for his personal interest, like, he donates to politicians that'll give him what he wants and pass laws to make his business better. He does the worst kind of philanthropy work and spending of his billions that someone can do. So his hate would be much more deserved than Mr. Beast's hate. I'm not a Mr. Beast fan. My kids watch some of his videos. I think he's okay. But as far as him as a person, I don't know. I mean, he seems like kind of a goofball. But he's a goofball who knows how to make money, and he's totally fine giving a bunch of that money away. Because I'd probably do the same thing. Any normal person who's lived a normal person's life like he has, most billionaires never even lived a normal person's life, so they don't know what it's like for us. Most people who are like us, who've lived our lives, who've lived paycheck to paycheck, or lived on a normal person's salary, if you were to become a billionaire within the course of a year or a couple years, that's not that long. You'd still remember where you came from. Most of us would go, I'd buy everything I needed, and billions of dollars? That's not just generational wealth. That's more money than I think even my family would spend in 100 years. Yeah. I'll take care of the ones I love, and then I'll probably give some back. You know, like most people. I feel like most people would do something to give stuff back. Either start either do a real estate project to bring something to the town where you came from. You would give something back. Most people would.
Even someone like Queso has haters, purely because he's a massive content creator, no pun intended.
I don't like him, but I wouldn't call myself a hater. My kids watch him. I find him extremely annoying. I get it, he's making content for children, and everything he does is extremely exaggerated, and it's all an act. He is an adult overreacting to everything for views, and it's worked for him. I don't blame the hustle. I just find it really annoying. For some reason, his version of that act, because there's a lot of people who do the act to get views from children, that put on the YouTuber voice and do the act. Markiplier is a fine example of it. But for some reason, when Queso does it, I find it more annoying than when the others do it. Maybe it's his voice. I don't know. There's something about it, man. I just I can't be in the room with my kids while they're watching them. I'm just like, okay, fine. Y'all watch Queso. I don't care. Y'all enjoy it. I'm out. I'll come back later. Him and the other dude, who I think I need to actually cover that drama. There's another dude that my kids watch who makes mostly content for children, gaming content for children. And I think he just caught charges for domestic violence for beating his girlfriend. Yeah, it's the constant yelling for no reason, which then makes kids yell, and then my whole house becomes like, it's not just annoying to watch him, but the effect he has on kids is also annoying to watch. I'm like, oh my God, they're watching Queso again. It's so aggravating. Even on the third floor of my house, I can hear them yelling and screaming. Sometimes the neighbors complain, like I can't let them watch him after a certain time of night because they just get way too into it. Yeah, it's annoying. But the other guy that they watch, black dude, he plays mostly like horror games and shit. But he just got I think he got charges for domestic violence. I don't know. I was going to make a segment out of that, but I need to look into it more. Corey Kenshin. Because they watch him, and I'm like, oh, shit, this dude's like, when he turns off the happy streamer face. And another thing, their personalities are also fake that I'm like, it's one of those things where I don't want my kids to get too invested in them, because then they'll eventually see news articles and stuff like this that show that he beat his girlfriend and be like, oh, I thought he was a good guy. Yeah, no, their personalities are fake, sweetie. These are fake people. And then I have to explain to them what fake people are, because they're too young to understand. Yeah, but I think he got domestic violence charges. So I'm like, oh, cool. He's an asshole in real life. He's a guy who acts scared of stuff that he shouldn't be scared of because he's a grown man. He acts scared of children's games, and then turns off his streaming and beats his girlfriend. Cool.
Some of these early haters of Piratesoftware would start making videos talking about his past. About how, for example, he wasn't the game developer he was making himself out to be, especially with his Blizzard experience. About how he used to go by the name of Moldavius Fig Tree and was a well-renowned furry in Second Life and EVE Online.
Oh, he wasn't just a well-renowned furry. He was making a literal living in Second Life selling furry BDSM gear. So not just like a regular furry, because I know all the furries in my comments and all the furries in my Discord. I know I have furries in my community. And I know that some of you are going to be in chat. I know not every furry is a sex thing, but for Piratesoftware specifically, it was definitely a sex thing. And he was making profit off of it. Yeah, I did. Rebranding, Parker. Rebranding.
But those videos would never get enough traction to actually matter. As you can see, this video right here with the title of Piratesoftware, the streamer who faked his game dev career, had reached almost 100,000 views.
I need a degree of separation between where you're at and the rest of my life, so we're doing a little rebrand over there.
From the like and dislike ratio, we can see how Piratesoftware had somehow, either directly or indirectly, sent his community to brigade this video, and just like Joker D's video, it was taken down by abusing the copy structure.
It was definitely directly. He might not say it on stream, but he definitely weaponizes his audience. And that's like a no-no. I don't understand people who... I don't want the kind of audience where I can point at something and have them go brigade it and attack it. I want the kind of audience of normal people to go, I don't think we should just be mass reporting something because you don't like it, Chief. Like, I want my audience to be objective. If I get those kind of people in my audience that are offering to do that stuff, go watch someone else. I don't want that kind of audience. I would never want that kind of audience.
System and inciting harassment and cyberbullying. So essentially, if you were an early hater of Piratesoftware, if you had something to say...
I expect if I get lucky and I ever do blow up, I would hope my audience, I would want the kind of audience that would keep me honest. Because as long as you keep me honest and people are watching me because I'm honest, then that means my fame will last. Because all I got to do is continue being my honest self. The minute I lose the plot, like he did, it's over. So I wouldn't want that to happen.
Say, well, chances are no one heard you. This is how for a long time he was able to sweep all the hate, feedback, and criticism under the rug. Except this time, after all the events that we just saw unfold, he had way too many eyes examining his every move, and he couldn't just sweep criticism under the rug anymore. For example, around the end of January 2025, Piratesoftware had DMCA'd an indie game and threatened to sue its developer. Why? Well... The developer shows us the main reason why Piratesoftware wanted the game taken down.
By the way, what he did here is entirely illegal.
Here it is. It's this.
But he'll get away with it because the smaller indie developer doesn't have the money to take him to court over it.
Roach wearing the same wizard hat that he was wearing during World of Warcraft, while mimicking some of the things that he was saying. Watch.
As much as you're angry right now, of course I read.
The talking roach.
So
the reason this was illegal, because everyone's going to go, no, you can't put somebody else's stuff in a game like that. You can't put somebody... No, you can't publish somebody else's stuff in a game like that. This was unpublished, though. The version of the game that Piratesoftware copyright struck, the published version, didn't have this in it. He's essentially playing a fan build of the game, or an early version of the game. This isn't accessible to the public. It's something he's just showing off on stream. It's essentially parody, which is legal. So for Piratesoftware to copyright strike the version of the game that didn't have this in it because he saw it in a different version is illegal. You're striking it for something it doesn't contain. But this guy doesn't have the money to take him to court to, prove that, unfortunately.
Whole game got DMCA'd.
Thank you, Tan V, for the subscription. If there's anybody else watching me on YouTube who hasn't subscribed yet, now is an amazing time because I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers so I can make a few shekels off these videos. Which, by the way, if you're enjoying the live stream or you want a more, podcast-like, listenable version of me to enjoy when I'm not streaming, my videos on YouTube are just that. I cut out all the dead air. I cut out all the, side tracks and stuff. So it's a little more focused content. And it's designed to be listened to, not just watched. So you can listen to it like a podcast. Anyway, back to this. Tuned in for the title, but how's 76 these days? I haven't played it in like a year. Was hardcore into it for the first 18 months, but then fell off. It is better now than it has ever been. They have added so much to it, and it has become... I didn't like it when it first came out, and then I got into it recently because it has finally become the... trying to do my daily challenges here, not do anything that I have to listen to dialogue for, because obviously we're watching this, but it has become what I would want from a multiplayer Fallout game. Not 100% what I would want, but pretty close, especially if it's going to be a massively online kind of game. There's so many different things you can do. They got caravans now. They've got fishing in the game. They've got a bunch of in-game stuff. Like, it's got a lot of extra content now, and it's a lot more focused, and they've added all these new locations. They've expanded upon the map Fortnite style, so the map, it keeps, not only do they expand upon it, but they change it over time. So now you can find like new stuff on the map, so you can it gives you a reason to keep exploring the map you've already explored. Yeah, it does feel like you're living in Fallout's world, a living, breathing version of Fallout's world. It's great now. It's absolutely great.
Because of this. I mean, this is how sensitive he is. And now many people were made aware of this. He couldn't just copy strike or DMCA just about anyone, because every time he did, he spawned more haters. His strategy was now outdated. Everyone was made aware of what had happened to this indie game. And speaking of indie games, there was renewed scrutiny over Piratesoftware's indie game called Heartbound, with many wondering why it's been in early access since 2018 with no release date in sight.
It's like he's speed running getting the record for longest game in development. I mean, he is quickly approaching being in development as long as Duke Nukem Forever. That's not a good thing. And this is a game with far less ambition than Duke Nukem Forever ever had. It's ridiculous.
Give it 3 more years, it'll be a decade. Some people were comparing.
I'm a coder with a degree, used to watch Pirate for his coding shorts, but he always came off too arrogant to me, a trait I hate in people. Yeah, most people should hate that. And lately he's just gone off the deep end. Not to mention his coding knowledge is very limited. And other coders, like Coding Jesus, have pointed that out. His code is kind of shit. Which is why he does 16-hour long dev streams and only has the code up on those dev streams for, like 4 screenshots worth of code is all Coding Jesus was able to get from a 16-hour long live stream. So he had it up on his stream all 4 times. He's a fake developer. If you're a coder with a degree, you should be able to look at those shorts and realize that he's only explaining the basics, which is fine, but he's way too arrogant. And then when you try to get into the weeds with it in him, you realize how wrong he is. He does the Jordan Peterson thing. So when you hear him talk about hacking, there was that clip of him talking about hacking where he talks about all the shit he did to hack, and then you find out that his actual hacking job was social engineering. He does the Jordan Peterson thing where he uses a lot of big words, and it's essentially tech word salad. He says a lot of big words, and he talks in a certain way, but when you actually break down what he said, you realize he said nothing. It was all nonsense. That's what Jordan Peterson does. He'll spend 10 minutes explaining something that could have been explained in 2 minutes, and the other 8 minutes are just nonsense words, or just word salad designed to make him sound smart to stupid people. Yeah, it's very annoying. Oh yeah, it was more about the shorts which were super positive, but trying to do things that got me into it. Yeah, and that's why he blew up, because in the shorts, you're only getting the little clip version of it before he crashes out or gets proven wrong after. So you're getting the good parts. I explained this earlier in the stream, but everything that Piratesoftware does, there's like a nugget. There's a little nugget of truth to what he's saying, to what he does, and then he layers that little nugget in so many layers of arrogance and ego and exaggeration and bullshit that, I mean, we could literally break it down earlier in this video in real time, where you saw him make a claim, and then I paused it to be like, that part's true. Everything after this will be false. And then he continued to go on, and I'm like, yeah, everything he just said was false. It was an exaggeration. So you can point out the nugget of truth and then realize the exaggeration afterward. Which works on stupid people, because it makes him hard to prove wrong, because they can go, no, see, he was right, he knows what he's talking about. And then it makes you look like the asshole for trying to prove him wrong, when there is some truth behind what he's saying. And it gives his retard fans the fuel they need to just go, no, you just don't understand. And that's how they treat it. Oh, it's so aggravating. It is the most infuriating shit in the world. So I feel like the hate is deserved at this point. I'd like to ask him a real coding question on stream and have him answer. That would be funny. But I'd never give him money to have that happen. It doesn't matter. If you gave him money or put it in chat, he would instantly ban you. Other people have also tried. Other coders have also tried. He just won't address them, and he'll instantly ban you. Other coders have asked to talk to him. Coding Jesus, for instance. He will refuse to talk to any real coder because his knowledge is limited and he knows it. And in a real conversation, he won't be able to defend himself. Like, it's easy to make other people look stupid when you can be dismissive and go, nah, fuck that shit, eat my entire ass, eat the entirety of my ass, or whatever dumb fucking bullshit he says. God. Yeah, he is an insufferable human being, which is why we're watching this video talking about the rise and very satisfying fall of Piratesoftware. Oh, man. It's so good. It's so good. Don't forget you dropped your voice note. Oh, I need to turn on my filter, guys. They think I use a filter. Hold on. I don't use a filter. This is how I always talk, I swear. And this is going to be me peeling a banana. You got to peel your banana. You seen that clip where he doesn't do the voice? I'm peeling my banana. You got to peel your banana first. Oh. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Insufferable human being.
Him to Yandere Dev, a very well-established lolcow who hadn't released his game in over a decade. And when people actually analyzed its code, they found some of the worst written code known to mankind. Seeing all this scrutiny and criticism catch up to his own game development must have hit one hell of a nerve, because
actual fucking brain rot. Yeah.
Very shortly after, he announced that Heartbound would start receiving monthly updates, and all it took was people going there and reviewing it negatively. He was hoping that this would steer off the criticism and the scrutiny, and that things would eventually finally go back to normal, but the haters weren't really done just yet. People were putting into question—
Oh yeah, you can be a ghoul in Fallout 76 now, in case you're wondering why I'm eating spoiled meat. I am a ghoul, and being fully irradiated gives you superpowers. It's pretty dope. I'm guessing they did it after the popularity of the show, because the ghoul in the show is a badass, and I think this game does a pretty good job of translating that into the game to make you feel like a badass when you're a ghoul. But there are downsides. If you don't keep a check on things, you can go feral, and certain factions and people won't interact with you the same way when you're a ghoul, so you got to put on a disguise and all that. Yeah, I feel like they implemented it well. It's pretty good.
Question his entire identity, the fact that he worked at Blizzard for 7 years, but worked what exactly? As well as him claiming—
He worked in QA. He was a tester, entry-level position.
That he was one hell of a hacker who had gone to the yearly hacking conference, DEF CON, and won some pretty important events there with the help of his team that he never mentioned, of course. Always taking credit for this by himself. I mean,
basically, his team carried him. When you look into what he actually did hacking. Again, nugget of truth. The nugget of truth being he is a hacker, And he did go to that event, and he did win awards. The part that he leaves out, though, is that, the awards were given to the entire team, and the specific awards that they won were done by the people on his team because social engineering wasn't one of the awards that they won. And that was his role on that team, social engineering. He didn't do any actual hacking. He just sent emails trying to trick employees into giving him passwords. That was his job. That was his role as the hacker. I think I was level 420 when I quit. It was a funny level to quit at. That sounds like, yeah, that does sound pretty funny. I probably would be a higher level if I didn't swap between platforms because there's no crossplay. But yeah, I'm a ghoul. Here, I'll take the mask off because I was doing a mission that had me wearing this veil of secrets there. Yeah, I'm a ghoul. I'm a ghoul. And this season's big gimmick is fishing. They added fishing to the game, so I've dressed up myself as a fisherman. And I'm just doing the dailies here, the daily challenges. Kill a canine, kill a mutated enemy. I have to take a picture of a power armored Blood Eagle, and I'm jumping from Blood Eagle camp to Blood Eagle camp, and I cannot find a single one in power armor to take a picture of. It's starting to annoy me now. It's an epic one, though, so I don't want to re-roll it. No, I went to that one. Like, I'm running out of Blood Eagle camps to go to. Yeah, let's go to this one. Fallout show was badass. I laughed when I heard it was renewed like 10 days after the release. Oh god, it's so good. And it's canon and supposed to tie into the next Fallout game. So, I'm here for it, man. And the fact that they've made being a ghoul a gameplay mechanic, I expect to be able to become a ghoul in the next Fallout, which is kind of dope. Like when you could become a vampire. And I always wondered why there wasn't something like that in Fallout, because you could become a vampire in Elder Scrolls, and it would, stuff like that would change the way the game played for you and give you some superpowers. It's about time that they found a version of that they could add to Fallout. This is long overdue.
At some point, he was invited to a podcast called Dropped Frames. This was a clip from it, and here's the title: Piratesoftware on how he became a hacker for the government. These were the stories.
Yeah, see here, I'll show you. If you look in the background behind where my chair is, see, I've got a little meter above my AP there. If that meter goes too low, I go feral. And going feral has benefits and trade-offs. All your enemies will do 30% less damage because they'll be frightened by your feralness, and you'll do 150% increased melee damage, but you'll have a 300% increase in recoil to your guns because you can't handle the gun well. So stuff like that. You also have minus 99 charisma plus strength. Yeah, like it changes your stats. So there's a reason to go feral and not to go feral. It's pretty dope. It's not the way I wish they would have handled going feral. I think it would have been dope that if the meter went completely gone, that you would lose, not lose control of your character, but for a limited time you would go into feral mode, which, in my opinion, I think it should treat you like the Berserk power-up in Doom, where the screen goes red and you can only melee, and then you run around ballistic. And even maybe make your controls harder to control, where you stumble about, and you can also damage your teammates during this because you're feral, and everything you punch does like 300% damage. And then after a while, your energy drains and you pass out. And a teammate would either have to revive you, or you'll have to wait X number of time before you stand up and regain your senses. I think that would have been a cool way to handle going feral. But stat changes are nice too, I guess. That would have been my idea. But, I'm not Piratesoftware. I'm not a game developer, so what do I know? I'm just showing how stupid I am compared to the great Piratesoftware. Would be cool if when you were feral, you had to hunt other players. I mean, I thought it would be cool, like, if you completely, like, if it went through phases. Like, for the first phase of you being feral, you can control your person. I think this is how it should work. I think for the first phase of you being feral, you can control your person, but it's like Berserk mode from Doom. So you can do this increased melee damage, and you're like a beast. And you've gained increased health, increased melee damage, and all your stats are up. And then over time, the longer you're feral, the less control you have of your character. Your stats start to drop, you start to get fatigued, and when the meter reaches 0, you completely lose control of your character. It goes into spectate mode, and you watch your guy just run around attacking stuff until he loses all his health or until his meter drops and he passes out. So then, at that point, you could attack your teammates and stuff, and there'll be nothing you can do to stop it from happening. Because you're feral, you can't control it. And your teammates would either have to... The counter to that would be to make a bullet, adding a purpose for the syringer gun, add a vial to the syringer gun that would cure feralness so your teammates could use you as a weapon, and when you finally go feral enough to attack your teammates, you could shoot them with the syringer and, cause the feralness to subside and the player to return to normal. I think it would have been a cool team-focused gameplay mechanic to do that, but that's obviously a lot more complicated than just doing stat changes. That would have been how I would have implemented it. But again, I'm not a game designer. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not Piratesoftware. I'm just guessing here. I'm just telling you the player's perspective of what I think would be cool. I realize what I'm asking for is impossible. Like stop killing games would also be impossible. What do I know? I'm just a game player who wants to keep the games I bought.
Stories that he was telling people. Watch this.
You're a hacker. Like that's where you kind of started.
An actual hacker.
An actual hacker. Like,
Yes.
Not like I'm a hacker.
And here he is gaslighting other big streamers, and they're just playing into it.
No,
They don't know any better, and they're not going to take the 2 seconds to look into it, needed to Google it or find out what he actually did.
you're an actual hacker. You won.
Like an actual hacker.
Yeah,
My last job was hacking power plants for the federal government. I worked for the United States Department of Energy.
So dude walks in with a laptop and a suit, and you lean over to, who's that guy?
Well, that's the hacker from the government.
Yeah, that's not at all the way that works. But I get it. You guys are memeing. I can't tell if they're making fun of him here, if they're aware, or if they just genuinely don't understand. I can't tell if this is satire or not. I don't watch, Carnage enough to tell if this is him memeing on Piratesoftware and he's too stupid to catch it, or if they honestly believe that Piratesoftware was a hacker and they're just trying to make it sound cool. I can't tell. I honestly, if there's anybody in my stream who watches Carnage, could you tell me here? I'll rewind it so you can see his response to it. Can you tell me if what he's doing is genuine, or is he kind of low-key clowning on Piratesoftware here? I can't tell.
Top in a suit, and you lean over to, who's that guy?
Well, that's the hacker from the government.
Yeah, that's the hacker.
He's just doing the voice and stuff. Like, I can't tell. Is he making fun of him, or is he being? Is he trying to make him sound cool? Like, I genuinely can't tell.
we go in like 3 to 4 man teams, man. So we've got a team. Of
You had a
looking
fleet.
Like
you had like a team of dudes in suits,
wasn't just
holding
me.
laptops,
Yeah,
walking into
exactly.
restricted areas.
It sounds like they're making fun. It really does. I can't tell. I really can't tell.
Okay.
When he says things like this, what he's trying to paint in your mind as a viewer is that he's some sort of Unit 8200 Mossad agent writing zero-day exploits on USBs that are snuck into Iranian nuclear facilities and that infest and shut down the entire technical operation of that nuclear power plant. When in reality, if you look at his LinkedIn and reconcile it against his skill set, what he did was social engineering. He wrote phishing emails and tried to gain access
Why wouldn't you also just lie on your LinkedIn? Your LinkedIn's not an official thing and you control it. Like, the only people who could call you on it are the people that you actually worked with at that point, your former employers. And I'm pretty sure it's illegal for them to do that. Like, the only thing a former employer can really do, I think by law, is verify whether or not you work there. They can't talk about your performance. Like, why wouldn't you just lie on your link? Why wouldn't you take the time to update your LinkedIn to match the lies you're telling? I don't get that. That would be so easy to do. That would have been, if I was the kind of guy to lie and try to craft this fucking persona that I'm going to play online in order to gain fame, I wouldn't want to, that would be the first thing to cross my mind is, oh shit, I need to update my LinkedIn. I would, how do you not, oh man, I think I'm stuck. I fell and I'm stuck. God damn it. Okay, there we go.
credentials and user systems that way.
So Coding Jesus said it best. Piratesoftware's entire identity was slowly starting to unravel right before our very eyes. From the shorts that made him go viral, to the stories he used to say on stream, to quite literally everything about him was nothing more than either an exaggeration or him trying as best as possible to sugarcoat reality.
It's a combination of things. Some things are outright lies. The majority are exaggerations. which exaggerating in and of itself isn't a lie. You can exaggerate for comedic effect, but most people, when they exaggerate to put emphasis on something, the exaggeration is so obvious no one would believe it to be true. Like when you say something like, man, I'm not worried about Israel or Palestine. Those places are like a gabillion miles away. No one's honestly going to believe you thought that they were a gabillion miles away. That's an exaggeration. But it's so obvious that people got your point. You're exaggerating for a fact. When you exaggerate the way he does, where you just compound little shit on top of the truth, then it starts to sound like a lie. And the other way he lies is a lie of omission, where he leaves things out that would add context. For instance, I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. I was a first, second generation employee at Blizzard. What did you do at Blizzard? That's the part he leaves out. Anyway, I was about to start my own stream when I got stuck on yours working on a Dune Awakening contest space. I haven't played that game. Is it good? Have a good stream. I subbed. Yeah, check out my content. I actually put a lot of work and editing into the clips from this stream that I make into videos. But thank you for the subscription. I am desperately trying to hit 1,000 subscribers so I can make some shekels off of those videos. Enjoy the content. Hope to see you again, brother. And if I catch you live when I'm not live, I may go check it out. And I'll encourage my viewers to do the same. This dude seems cool. This fucking guy is not cool. That guy's cool.
You can very clearly see on his LinkedIn that first off, he didn't work at Blizzard for 7 years. It was actually 6 years, 6 months. And that his initial roles were him being...
I rounded up. That's fine.
...in quality assurance. For the first 4 years at Blizzard, so the majority of his time there, he was in an entry-level role, eventually being promoted multiple times and finishing off as a senior red team specialist. In his own description of the job, he said, infiltrated and exploited physical access controls, managed social engineering operations to improve employee awareness and resilience, and finally created, launched, and managed a global web application bounty program.
It went under
As
the
Coding
bed and I
Jesus
can't
said,
get it.
this guy
The
would
key
literally
I
just
need.
send phishing emails, make
That guy's
phone calls,
explosion
try to
pushed under
pretend
the
to be
bed.
an outsider in order to have employees make mistakes so that they can improve
already got the
internal
key.
protocols. I mean, it's an important job, that's for sure. But even on his LinkedIn, he would make claims that he worked on all these different games. I mean, yeah, indirectly, but none of your code made it to the game. You didn't mod.
Some of that I don't blame him for. Like if you contributed to the game in some way, of course you're going to claim that you worked on the game to pad your resume. That's just resume padding. Everyone does it. Everyone does it. Even professionals will tell you to do it. I'm not going to take points off of him for that one. I'm going to be fair. Padding your resume is fine. Exaggerating or lying on it is not in the way that he did it. Like rewording the truth to make it sound more appealing on a resume, that's a totally common practice. That's just good resume writing. For instance, you weren't a prostitute. You weren't an escort. You worked in public relations. Okay? Just padding the resume there. So that part sounds like padding. He did work on them, albeit indirectly, but it doesn't matter. He worked on them. So it's the parts where he claimed that he did a specific job he didn't do that would be outright lies.
Model, you didn't texture, and you sure as hell didn't animate. You just so happened to...
Wait, did he claim he did those things? I mean, I just see him projects that he worked on, and he's listed the games, but he didn't tell what he did for those games. I mean, could have been a playtester. You could, you know, there's a lot of things. Someone hiring you who's doing a good job hiring you would inquire further about them, but this will get you an interview. It won't get you the job. This kind of resume padding won't get you the job, but at least get you an interview. And then someone who's really doing their research during that interview would ask for clarification on these things that are a little vague. But if he's claiming he did texture work and all that stuff, then he's lying. But I don't see any of that listed here. Yeah. No, I don't see anything wrong with his resume. I mean, it's padded all to hell. Maybe a little too much padding. Because it will get you in the...
Work.
Like, this level of padding will get you a job. You don't want to pad too much, because then you get the job and find out that as soon as your new employer finds out that you are not as qualified for this job as you made yourself out to be with your resume padding, you'll quickly lose that job. So there's a fine line. A little bit of padding's fine. You shouldn't You shouldn't overpad, which I'd argue he's borderline doing from what I can see on screen here. But a little bit of padding's fine.
On internal projects in parallel to these games. And yet, every time someone would mention something about games, about the video game industry, about whatever, he would always start off by saying, I worked 7 years at Blizzard, actually, so I know what I'm talking about. When in reality, no, you have more experience as an indie developer than you ever had as a developer at a AAA company.
True. At this point, you've spent more time working on Heartbound than you did working on AAA games, which should be questionable to any future employer you may apply to if you're going to pad your resume like this, and then they find out that, oh, okay, well, you worked at Blizzard for 7 years and you worked on all these games. Why is it taking you 8 years to make an indie game? Why have you not completed your one game? Like, wait, you've got more experience as an indie dev and you've only released, you haven't released this game yet? What the fuck? Yeah, they're going to have those questions, as well they should.
And that's the truth. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that he made this such an important and integral part of his personality that it felt like a massive betrayal. But that's not all. His dad was Joey Ray Hall. This picture right here is of 10 people. And if you don't know who they are, these
the founding members of Blizzard. They were Blizzard before it was Blizzard.
People happen to be the original founders of Blizzard Entertainment.
Yeah, okay. Most people don't call them founders. They just say like original members or something. I want to make it clear. He's not just an original member or an early member or blah, 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 or however Piratesoftware tried to downplay it a little bit. He is a founding member because he loves to upsell what he is and downplay what his dad is to fight the Nepo baby Nepo baby claims, because he makes his dad sound like he's not as important as he was at the company, so that you can't claim he was a Nepo baby. No, my dad just worked there. He wasn't that important. Like, he got my foot in the door, but he's not the reason that I got the job the second time, blah, blah. He absolutely was. He was on the board. He was a founding member. Okay, you weren't just some guy's kid whose dad worked at, your dad didn't work in management or something. Like, he wasn't just some guy at Blizzard. You were the... You were like the boss's kid, the boss of the whole place, the president of the company, kind of level shit. Like if Elon hired his kids, it's that level.
Yes, these guys are legends in every sense of the word, and the guy in the middle is none other than Jason Thorhall's father. He later became the director of cinematics at Blizzard, which is probably the only thing that Blizzard has been consistently good at for the last 20 years.
True. Those cutscenes are dope. I won't knock his dad. His dad seems to have more integrity than he does. Is he flipping them off? Oh wait, that's the South Park picture. Okay, never mind.
He was also the inspiration behind this guy in South Park from the famous World of Warcraft episode. I mean, this guy was a legend in every sense of the word. And so Mashable.com, when they made this article about Piratesoftware titled How Streamer Piratesoftware Gained Nearly 2 million subs in 6 months, they just had to mention the fact that he's a Nepo baby, saying when he was 16,
and he absolutely is, and it's something he's even bragged about before, that now that it's become a meme, he tries to downplay. I'm sorry, he found a better way to word it, more of his padding. I'm a second generation Blizzard employee. Got it, you're the first Nepo baby that worked there. Cool.
And he landed a dream job as a game tester at Blizzard Entertainment, which, before the bloated loot boxes and corporate acquisition by Microsoft for $68.7 billion, was considered one of the most respected companies in the video game industry. It helped that he was a Nepo baby, since his dad, Joey Ray Hall, had spent over 2 decades at the industry titan since almost the very beginning. Now, of course, after 6 months he would leave because he felt that the corporate life wasn't for him, and many years later would reapply by himself without the help of his dad, landing a QA role, which I believe, because if he had the
I don't buy the without the help of his dad for the second one. Even if he didn't reference his dad on the application and he applied a second time to try to get his foot in his door. You've already been there once. People know your name. They're going to put 2 and 2 together. Other people there know you. They know you're the boss's kid. Even if you don't use your dad as a reference on the resume, it doesn't matter. They're still going to know that if we don't hire the boss's kid, though, he might get mad. There's still going to be that pressure on them. So whether you like it or not, anytime you apply for a job there under your birth name, your dad is going to be influenced. The only way to avoid the Nepo baby claim is to do what Nicolas Cage did and change your name so that you, on paper, don't have a tie to your father. Because I can't remember what Nicolas Cage... See, I can't remember what his original last name was, but it ain't Cage. Nicolas Cage changed his name to make it in Hollywood without being tied to his actor father. His father's also an actor. So he avoided the Nepo baby claim and actually made it on his own. If you take the steps to do what he did, then you can say you weren't a Nepo baby. Then you can fight those things and get pissed off about them. But as long as you're known as the boss's kid by everybody, whether or not you reference your dad doesn't matter.
The help of his dad, no way he would end up in an entry-level position. But still, just them including this sentence, calling him a Nepo baby, truly triggered him beyond belief. I mean, look at what he had to say.
Yeah, really not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. It's one of those things that I've been trying to fight my entire career. It's one of the things that I've had to argue with people and
Real easy to fight. Change your name. I already told you how to fight it. It's real easy. Nicolas Cage did it. It's been done before. It's not hard.
chat about. It's one of the things that we ban people for here. Anytime people say shit like that, because it's deeply disrespectful.
And 100% accurate.
And it completely overwrites any of the things that I've done throughout my career as something that is somebody else's success, which they have not been in any possible respect.
They absolutely have been. Your denial of reality doesn't make it true.
And it's just rude as fuck. So, what do you say? In the thing, he said it was he called me a Nepo baby. In his article. No, that's dog shit behavior. Really gross. In any case, let's go find somebody to raid.
I mean, you heard him, right? He would ban people in chat if they called him a Nepo baby. It's the easiest way to trigger him. And yet, at the same time, the same guy who's acting triggered over being called Nepo baby said this multiple times on his stream. Watch.
So I'm second generation Blizzard. I'm the first second.
Yeah, you literally brag about it and then get mad when people call. Jesus Christ, dude.
Generation Blizzard employee that ever existed with the company. I'm also a second generation Blizzard employee. I was a second generation Blizzard employee. I was the first second generation Blizzard employee ever. I was the first second generation Blizzard employee.
God damn.
And I love that shit. I love that company. Working for Blizzard sucked.
I love that shit. I love that company. Working for them sucked. This dude's a fucking clown, man.
Again, a lolcow is someone who is unintentionally hilarious when being 100% serious, and I just can't stop laughing at this guy.
Because it's so... He's the most obvious form of it, too. Almost to the point where it's hard to believe that he's being serious. His feels more like an act than DSP, and I can tell DSP's putting on an act. Holy shit, man.
I mean, seriously? I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee? What is this, the Chinese dynasty? Like, what are you even talking about? And let's be real here. The only reason you were the first second-generation Blizzard employee was purely because of your dad. Because back then, they didn't even have a recruiting team. You were just...
There wouldn't be a second generation for you to be the employee of if your dad didn't work there, genius.
Easiest hire. And I think one thing he has to understand is that being a Nepo baby isn't a bad thing. I think most people, if they had a dad or a mom who worked a really cool job, they would love to take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's how I got my first job coming out of high school. It's really common. The quick, easy job out of high school is to get a job at the place where your parents work if they're willing to help you out. My dad worked at a factory. He was the lead mechanic there. So I applied as a operator, not a mechanic, but an operator of one of the assembly lines, which is not an entry-level spot, mind you. Like working the assembly line is so yeah, I absolutely got to skip ahead in line because I was the son of the lead mechanic, and you have to have some mechanic skills to work on the assembly line because they want you to solve basic problems yourself, and then if it gets out of hand, you call the mechanic. And I passed the mechanics test. I mean, I still had to be tested, but I wouldn't even have been given the chance to take the test if it weren't for that. And I acknowledge that. It's not hard to figure out. I also acknowledge that the reason I got treated the way I did was because my dad worked there. Some people gave me special treatment because my dad worked there. Some people hated me because they hated my dad. So I kind of had to take the good with the bad. I imagine he got the same treatment from his coworkers, that some people gave him more leeway than he deserved because they liked his dad, and some people hated his dad and had it out for him. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, honestly. And if he were honest, like I was, and just explained it like like that to explain to people what it's like to be a Nepo baby, because most people don't understand, and to realize that it's not like everything was handed to me. Some people had it out for me because they didn't like my dad. You know, give that honest take on it, you probably wouldn't have gotten as much backlash as you're getting, man.
That, and they do. For example, Jack Quaid is an actor that was called a Nepo baby multiple times by fans. That's because his parents are both Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, two very successful actors. His response was very refreshing for fans, agreeing with the Nepo baby label and saying,
yeah, because you can't deny it. It's one of those things that's so obviously true. You just have to own it and then explain why. It's how I got the job, but it's not how I made a name for myself and blah, blah. And then you focus on your accomplishments. Yeah, I was put in a position to prove myself because I'm a Nepo baby, but everything I did after getting hired was mine. Yeah, like you have to own both. It can't be one or the other. You have to own both.
saying, "I'm an immensely privileged person. I don't think it undermines my talent," adding that he was able to get representation pretty early on because of being a Nepo baby, and that it's already more than half the battle. So as I said, being a Nepo...
Yeah, so he admits, being the Nepo baby got my foot in the door. It got me roles that most actors probably wouldn't get without years of work. I got to skip ahead in line. But once I had those roles, it was up to me to make them work and to make a name for myself. There's only so many roles you can get as a Nepo baby if you can't act before they go, no, this guy sucks. So he still had to prove himself. He was just able to skip ahead in line and maybe given more than one chance to prove himself where most people wouldn't get the chance at all. So he acknowledges both, and no one hates him for it. That's the appropriate way to respond.
Nepo baby isn't inherently a bad thing. It's only bad when you try to deny it, when you get defensive because come on, who are you lying to? And that was what Piratesoftware was doing. It was becoming more and more obvious that Piratesoftware had a massive ego but also very deep-rooted insecurities. He wanted to appear like a genius no matter what. And according to him, genius
has to be the smartest guy in the room.
Geniuses never apologize. Geniuses never admit fault. But they also never make mistakes and always, no matter what, figure things out on stream. This is something that became painfully obvious when he would play some pretty hard puzzle games and would figure out some of the hardest things all by himself miraculously after looking at his phone, playing it off like it was...
He would solve it almost instantly. Like, if you're going to tell that lie, man, you got to be better at playing it off.
Some genius eureka moment. Outer Wilds is a critically acclaimed, story-rich space exploration game that just so happens to have some pretty complex puzzles. Piratesoftware would play this game on stream, and he would proceed to solve these puzzles all by himself, miraculously, and more specifically, after looking at his phone. In the VOD of his gameplay, around 8 hours and 7 minutes, he gets stuck in an area and he needs to get out somehow. This is one of the many puzzles in this game. Now he would struggle to find the solution, deliberate with his chat, talk a bunch, and then at around the 8:20 mark, he would pull out his phone right here and continue talking to chat. This goes on for 2 minutes in which he deliberates while very clearly looking at his phone. And then eventually, at around the 8-hour 22-minute mark, he would get a eureka moment.
Maybe it's not with the scanner. Maybe there's a different way. Maybe it's not the scanner at all. Maybe it's the time. Maybe the fact that we were able to destroy the surface like that was the point. Oh.
Eureka!
Wait a minute.
I have it! God damn.
I have an idea.
He's a terrible actor.
Guys, wait a minute. Oh my god, I have an idea. Guys, oh my god. This just came out of nowhere. My brain just works differently. Did I mention that I worked 7 years at Blizzard? This would spread like wildfire on Reddit. This guy is
crazy obvious. Like, if you're going to do that, then, like, find a reason to either make yourself off camera to look at the phone or pull it up on a second monitor so you're still staring forward. You should have pulled it up in a window right next to your chat. So looking at the solution to the puzzle you clearly Googled puts your head in the same place it would be if you were looking at chat. So no one would notice. And then take another 10 minutes or so to figure it out. don't figure it out instantly. Take another 10 minutes or so. Play around, make a bunch of mistakes, figure out in your head. The new puzzle in your head should be, what mistakes can I make that would lead me, if I learn from each mistake along the way, would lead me to the correct answer. And then you make mistakes that each get you one step closer to the solution. So after about 10 minutes or so, it looks like you naturally found the solution through trial and error and experimentation, which is how most people solve those puzzles. But you're a terrible actor, and this is crazy obvious. And you're about to be called out for it by a sex pest, which is icing on the cake, honestly.
Is faking his Outer Wilds run in order to appear to be a genius to his community?
Because I see Destiny on screen.
That's crazy. It's so ridiculous you can't even believe it. But as I already mentioned, he was facing increased scrutiny. He normally would have been able to get away with this, and he did get away with this in other games. It's just that now things were different. When questioned about cheating in Outer Wilds, this is what he had to say.
Why did you cheat in Outer Wilds? What? How the hell would you cheat in that game? Bro, we played it all live on stream. Alright, bud. It's a wild-ass thing to say.
Yes, how would you cheat while live streaming this, as he stares into his phone for 2 straight minutes? You're absolutely right. The real controversy would be when he would play the game.
Yeah, he's such a genius, he could figure out that puzzle that no one else could because his brain works differently, but you can't figure out how to cheat in that game. How would you even cheat? Like, it's so impossible to cheat in that game. Like, Google doesn't exist. You can't figure out the obvious thing that we all know, which is anytime you're stuck with a puzzle in a video game, you look at a guide. Even before the internet, we knew that fucking strategy guides existed, man. Come on. This is Jesus. It's so obvious.
Animal Well, that released on May 2024. You see, he played this game before the World of Warcraft controversy and before the increased scrutiny. But after he had embarrassed himself in Outer Wilds and World of Warcraft, people thought to go back and check his gameplay because they thought, wait, now that I think about it, this was kind of suspicious. And the evidence here was damning. It was simply undeniable. You see, Animal Well is a puzzle game, but not just...
I haven't played it yet. I heard it was good. And I do like my puzzle games. I'm not a big platform puzzle game guy, though. I like more traditional, Tetris, block following, head-to-head kind of puzzle game. But I may give it a try.
Any puzzle game. It has many puzzles and many secrets that are very easy to miss if you don't take your time analyzing every aspect of it. When the game first came out, you had people on Reddit and in forums trying to work together in order to find all of its secrets and puzzles. One of those puzzles was the Wingding puzzle. This took the entire community over a week of teamwork in order to find the solution. This was a group effort in every way, and no one person could have solved it by themselves. The guide came out on May 19th, 2024, and it just so happens that
That's the same day he solved it? Oh my god, dude, you didn't even wait a little bit? Fuck, you were hoping that people would see you solving it before they saw the guide, and then you could claim that you saw it before the guide. God damn it. Dude, you're so terrible at covering this shit up, just stop trying it.
Software, miraculously, all by himself on stream, solved this puzzle on May 19th, the day the guide came out. I mean, bro, seriously? You'd also have some people write entire essays with proof as to why they think that Piratesoftware cheated. If you want to read this and have actually played Animal Well, you can pause the video, but in a nutshell, it's almost like he was trying his hardest to ruin any ounce of reputation he had left. I mean, seriously, are you that insecure that you would cheat in a fucking puzzle game in order to appear to be a genius to your community? Really? It's insanity. But this was reality because, as I said earlier, this scrutiny was disassembling every...
Yeah, and that's what his fans will do. Like, they'll write full-on fucking dissertations for him to try to prove his innocence when he's so obviously guilty. Like, I don't understand why people are like emotionally... It's almost like they tie their ego to his. Like, proving them wrong is a personal slight on them because it would prove them wrong. Like, some people get so fucking invested in people like him, and I don't get it. I don't get it. Someone explain it to me and make it make sense.
Aspect of his brand and personality, even down to his most fundamental traits, like his own voice. People would somehow unearth this old clip of him at a convention in which he sounded completely different than how he sounds today.
he's either not putting the voice on and it's a voice he can do if he's thinking about it, so he's just trained himself to do it all the time, or he actually does use a filter on stream, which means you'll never hear him use that voice in person. I don't know which is true. I haven't seen enough of him in person to tell if he ever uses that voice in person or not. This is the only clip I've ever seen of him in person, but my God, is it different. And all he had to do was just admit that I can deepen my voice, so I've learned to do it all the time because I didn't like the way. You can admit your insecurity. I was insecure with the way my voice sounded, and I learned how to make it deeper, and I trained myself to talk like this all the time. But instead, he goes with second puberty. I hit second puberty at 33, guys. iDubbbz found empathy at 32. I hit second puberty at 33.
Day, leading many to believe that he's either faking his voice or simply using a voice changer on his microphone. Listen to this.
Show been so far? It's actually been amazing. It's our first time out here at Denver Comic Con, and there's so many people.
Or at the very least, you could have blamed it on the audio quality of that microphone in that clip because you're hearing a lot of background noise. Maybe the gain's too low. Maybe you could have just blamed it on their hardware. But instead, the fact that he said second puberty tells you that he's faking his voice. He's definitely faking his voice. I don't know if he's using a voice changer. I think he could probably go that deep, and it does sound enough like his natural voice that I think he's not using a voice changer. But he's definitely deepening his voice on purpose when he talks, and just doing it for the entirety of it. He's done it so much, it's just like second nature to him now. But this wasn't the play. If it were me and I wanted people to think that that's not how I always sound, you could just prove it by recording yourself off stream in a real life location again, but blame it on the microphone. Blame it on the microphone. Take your microphone away from your computer and record yourself in a real life setting, and boom, you're done. That's it. But this blaming it on second puberty, that's an obvious lie.
And they love the games, so it's been awesome. So speaking of games, what do you have for us today? So we have Champions of Breakfast, which is a twin stick shooter that we made in 24 days from concept to release on Steam. Blew up. It was really, really awesome. And that game is pretty difficult, so if you're into really hard arcade games, that's the kind of thing for you.
You know what though, to be fair, he sounds like such a pleasant person here. This is someone I can see myself being friends with. Look, people want to theorize and say that he has a voice changer or is faking his voice. I think he was just killed by an evil clone. I think that's a better explanation.
I think that he's a robot from the future, sent back in time to destroy all happiness. That's what I think. Prove me wrong.
This, of course, wouldn't be the only clip where you'd hear him have...
there's the banana one I memed on earlier. This one's not as damning. This is why I say it must not be a voice changer, because he sounds close to the deeper version of his voice, that if he just makes his voice a few octaves deeper from what it is here, he sounds like he normally does. I mean, it's still kind of high-pitched, but it sounds like he's just training himself to talk lower all the time, guys. This is just how I talk all the time, guys.
A different voice, like this one, for example.
I'm gonna have to peel my hot dog. I have to peel it.
Or the play here, if you don't want to blame it on the microphone like you would have the first time, you would say, guys, I was making my voice higher, and then make your voice higher on stream to your normal voice to show them I can make it higher when I want. Go the reverse. Pretend like you made it higher for the meme to sound weak and pathetic because you're about to put a fucking hot dog in your mouth. You know, you'll probably get a little pushback from the gay community or whatever. But, I mean, still, that's how you could... There's so many ways out of this other than second puberty, though. That's so bad.
Every good hot dog needs to be peeled. Every good hot dog needs to be peeled. You see, now that I've peeled the hot dog, it's ready to eat.
Look, a hot dog is
That's
about
right.
to be eaten by Thor.
It's ready to
Let's
eat.
demand he smears.
Okay, look, if you're not convinced yet, here's a more recent clip of him playing Animal Well. This was around a year ago, back in 2024. Look.
I don't know what that gives me, though.
I don't know what is that supposed to do? How am I gonna fit that shit in there? Oh, god damn it.
To some people, this was his voice changer glitching. To others, this was him mistakenly getting too comfortable with his real voice. What does Piratesoftware have to say about this? Well, apparently...
Yeah, that one, we'll listen to that one again, because that one's kind of obvious, if you ask me.
To some people...
How am I gonna...
Alright, so you can hear him go from...
I don't know what that gives me, though.
normal voice.
I don't know what is that supposed to do?
He couldn't maintain it while laughing. He lost control of it. I don't think it's his voice changer glitching. I think he's deepening his voice on purpose, but when you're laughing and stuff, it gets harder to maintain a fake voice. You'll see actors do it in movies when they're doing a fake accent. And they're supposed to do a scene where they're laughing. Sometimes the original accent comes out. They got to do many, many takes. So yeah, but he doesn't have the safety net of takes. He's doing it live, so it slipped out. His voice cracked, so to speak.
How am I gonna fit that shit in there? Oh, god damn it.
To some people.
That's why he said, "Oh, god damn it," afterwards, because he realized he was talking in his normal voice, and he quickly corrected to the deeper voice and went, "God damn it," because he knew he'd just been caught. That's what I think happened there. I don't think it was a voice changer. I think he's deepening his voice on purpose, and he realized he forgot to do it for a second, and then he caught himself, and then said, "God damn it," because he realized everybody saw it.
This was his voice changer glitching. To others, this was him mistakenly getting too comfortable with his real voice. What does Piratesoftware have to say about this? Well, apparently, according to his doctor, his voice went through a second puberty in his 30s. That's right. Apparently your balls can drop twice, but I could only find a handful of sources on this.
They're swinging to his knees now, boys. Swinging down past his knees. Big Dick Thor.
And this article from the BBC pretty much sums it up by saying that as we get older, the larynx gets stiffer, making the vocal cords less flexible. I mean, this isn't new. When you talk to someone who's 90 years
If it doesn't happen overnight, and it definitely doesn't happen in your fucking 30s.
old, they'll sound different than what they used to sound like in their 20s. But to have this much of a dramatic change
overnight,
that's crazy.
that quickly.
Regardless, though, I mean, the pressure was getting to Piratesoftware. Not only was his game getting scrutinized, not only was his past out in the open, but people were criticizing his gameplay, the way he played games, and even his voice. Things were getting out of control. So the next thing you know, he was...
No, they weren't out of control. He could have controlled... There are several points where he could have controlled... Oh, whoa! Okay, that I can't control. That burp just snuck up on me. But there were several points in this where he could have controlled it.
On stream with a psychologist by the name of Dr. K. Alok Kanogia, otherwise known as Dr. K, runs the healthygamer.gg organization. He's a clinical psychologist who founded this brand in order to be able to reach the very big and growing demographic of gamers, a group of people who very often will struggle with mental health and not really seek out therapy when they should. His content is mostly educational, drawing parallels between video games and what you go through mentally, and overall, he's been quite successful. Now, of course, that's not to say that he doesn't have his fair...
But he has to walk on eggshells when he does conversations like the one with Piratesoftware here, because he can't like do anything that could be misconstrued as a diagnosis, since he is a licensed therapist. And if it sounds like he's diagnosing a person, he can, lose his license over that. So he has to be careful not to diagnose a person. He can walk them up to, you'll see him do this many times in his multiple conversations with Piratesoftware. He'll walk him up to the line of the diagnosis. And then when confronted or asked, am I this thing? Because in this interview in particular, Piratesoftware asked him, do you think I'm a narcissist? After Dr. K told him he just failed the narcissist test. And Dr. K has to give him a non-answer. He can't say he's a narcissist, which all his fan base clings to be as proof that he's not one. And I'm like, well, legally, Dr. K can't diagnose him in this setting. He'd have to actually be his doctor to do that, and he's not. So he legally can't diagnose him. So he did the thing where he shows the entire audience that, yes, he is a narcissist. He just failed the test. But if he's asked about it directly, he can't give him that diagnosis. He's not going to say, yes, you are. He's going to say, well, I don't know, man. I mean, you need to go see an actual doctor. Yeah, he's going to defer him to a second opinion or an actual doctor. But all of us watching just saw him fail the narcissist test, so we know what that means. He has to play little games like that.
Share of haters. Some people, for example, have criticized the fact that he does these therapy sessions with streamers in public, even though the person...
But they're not actual therapy sessions. That's the thing. They're not therapy sessions. They're just talks. That's why he labels the stream an honest talk with blah, blah, blah. He's just talking to them. They're not therapy sessions.
In question consents to it. From Dr. K's perspective, though, he wants to show people that streamers are humans too. And if someone like those streamers...
Yeah, that's why it's called just a talk with him. It's not called a therapy session.
...that they idolize is brave enough to get therapy, then they can do so too. His conversation with Piratesoftware would last over 3 hours and a half. It would get viewed by almost 1 million people, and having watched a good chunk of it, I can tell you right now, regardless of what you might think about Dr. K, I think this stream truly shows his incredible skill in being able to converse with such an obvious narcissist without having him rage quit the call while still trying.
Yeah, it's a hard conversation to navigate, especially when you could lose your license if you drop the ball here. So I think he did a fine job.
His best to give him a reality check. And for you to understand that, I want you to watch this clip.
This shit right now is like, they come in and they're like, did you know that he worked at Blizzard for 7 years? Like, yeah, that was my career. And I'm proud of that. So of course I'm going to talk about that because it gives context to talk about other things around the games industry, which is what we do on the stream.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes the things that I talk about in regards to those types of things is misconstrued as arrogance or boasting, when in reality, I'm just trying to give context.
So that is the problem right there. So I want you to listen to this phrase.
Sure.
This gets misconstrued as arrogance, but in reality, it's this.
Yeah.
That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro. Like, tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. I don't see it that way, but all right.
God, it must be so...
Because the easy way to handle that, if you weren't trying to boast or brag about it, is... mention it a couple of times, I'd probably give you a pass on. Not just once, but even a couple times. But after a while, if you're not bragging, mention it too much would sound like bragging, and you yourself would get tired of talking about it. So you would just make a video for your YouTube channel explaining your work history and giving your background and why you know all these things. And anytime someone in the future then asked about that, you would simply post a link to that YouTube video and say, hey, there's everything you need to know about where I came from. Would some people still call that bragging because you made a YouTube video out of it? Yeah, sure, whatever. But you wouldn't be able to make a montage clip of you saying it 100 fucking times like they did there. It wouldn't be a meme. It would just be a, look, I'm tired of talking about it. If you guys want to know my history and what my qualifications are, I have a video talking about it. You can go watch that. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to take my word on it, I guess. Those are your options. Yeah, and then you move on. You press forward. You move on.
So hard talking to someone like that. Anyway, in the next clip, you'll be seeing the logic behind Piratesoftware's attitude when it comes to never apologizing.
Let me
not give any context whatsoever.
No, you give the context in a video, which I don't know why the doctor doesn't give him that solution here. That would have been a fine solution to give. Like, why don't you just make a video about it? And anytime someone asks, link them to the video. You'll get views, you'll get ad revenue from them watching the video. It'll help your career, and it'll keep you from having to, and people won't be able to say you're boasting and bragging about it because you only made one video about it. There you go. You solve two birds, you hit two birds with one stone there.
Yeah. Let's say yes to that. I think that's a bit of hyperbole, but
just an emotional response?
No, just say, hey guys. So basically, when you tell the narrative, you start with like, I made a mistake, everyone made mistakes. I was smug. And then there's a lot that comes after that. How would you feel about just ending it after that first paragraph?
Yeah.
I hate that.
Because he doesn't get to brag.
Okay.
I have like an immediate, emotionally angry response against that.
Very good.
Because it feels like idiocracy.
So you're proving you're a narcissist now. You just, after he just pointed it out to you, you literally gave the narcissistic response.
Okay.
It feels like, that's too long, didn't read. I don't need all those words when few words do gooder. That I hate that shit. Like I super hate that kind of communication of like there's a lot of people that say like, oh, you should just say,
because it downplays his accomplishments, which is clearly an insecurity for him.
My bad, guys. No, that does not in any way explain a situation. That doesn't tell you any information that is real. It is hand waving for the masses in a way that is disingenuous.
This is why I wish you'd have recommended, because I would have wanted to hear his argument against making one YouTube video on it and just linking that. So you're still getting your words out there. You're not downplaying it. It's not idiocracy, but you also don't get to constantly brag about it. So you kind of shoot down his argument with that. And I would want to hear his reasoning for not doing that, because he wouldn't want to do the YouTube video either. I can go ahead and tell you that. He wants to be able to brag about it. He just doesn't want to be called out for his bragging. He wants his cake and eat it too. It would be hilarious to hear his cope on that one.
to what happened and disingenuous to the people that are involved. I feel like to do that would be just me lying for the sake of lying so that people would fuck off.
But you're not lying. You're just not bragging. You're telling them what they need to hear. You're making it short and concise, and then you're stopping. You gave them the information. You didn't lie. You just also didn't feel the need to keep going and make yourself sound like, big dick Blizzard employee.
This really gave us an insight as to how his mind functions. And as you heard from him talking, he hates the idea of just saying, my bad, let's move on. I'm sorry, let's move on. He wants to sit there and type 12 paragraphs as to why he was wrong but not really, while others were more wrong than him. All of a sudden, things make a lot of sense. Now, listen to how Dr. K responded to that, okay? Just watch.
So I think what I liked about that response, my hope, so we're not here to like rehab your PR, right? We're just here to have a conversation. And at the same time, over the last 2 hours, there's something about the way that I hear you talk that rubs me the wrong way. There's something about the way that you...
He's speaking for the internet now. He's reading things that he saw on the internet, and what most people's complaints with him are, which is he rubs me the wrong way is the most common phrase. A lot of people don't like him just because of the way he talks. They don't have a specific reason. So he's kind of speaking for the audience here.
Talk that seems...
inauthentic would be the polite way to word that.
Dismissive.
That too.
So I'll tell you where that...
No, I agree with that.
Right? So it's like, I made a mistake, we all made mistakes.
Okay.
Right? So you're dismissing your mistake by shining a light on others. It's whataboutism.
Something about your sentence construction. It's like, oh yeah, Thor, I'm sorry I cheated on you, bro. I really do love you. We both have flaws in this marriage.
I think the funny thing here is that Dr. K is known to be very caring, very nice, and not confrontational at all when it comes to streams like this. But in this case, seeing that he's an experienced psychologist, he knew when to become confrontational. He knew when to call out Piratesoftware on his bullshit.
Yeah, I'm sorry I cheated on you, but this... marriage is hard and we all make mistakes. I come home, you've got the fucking... did Kevin Hart have a bit on this where he just comes home and he gets accused of cheating and he's like, no, I'm sick of your shit. I mean, he does a comedic version of it where he's like, no, I'm sick of your shit. I come home all the time. You got the fucking microwave on high. The stove is still on. The kitchen's a mess. No, fuck it. Let's talk about you. Yeah, it's that.
And this is what it was. Bullshit. In just a span of like 20 seconds, Dr. K had essentially summed up people's entire problem with Piratesoftware.
Which I believe was his goal, which is why he brought up the things he brought up. He was speaking for the internet there. Which, good on you, Dr. K. Way to read the room, bud.
Would be criticized, when he would be given feedback, when he would be given advice, he was always dismissive and smug. And this smugness is what led us here. People were hoping that this productive 3.5-hour conversation would actually lead somewhere, maybe actually make him apologize for once and take a step back. But it didn't. His empire kept crumbling until we had finally reached the final nail in the coffin. Stop killing games.
Finally.
Stop Killing Games is an initiative launched by Ross Scott in the European Union and the United Kingdom. It was meant to be a direct answer to what happened with the game The Crew, made by Ubisoft. At the end of December 2023, Ubisoft all of a sudden announced that The Crew would no longer be purchasable and that its servers would be going down on March 31st, 2024. Seeing that this was a live service game, this meant that after March, you'd never be able to play this game ever again.
And the game did have a single player mode that people could have still played, and they also wanted the ability to just do private races. There's so many ways they could have handled that. That's why people got mad, because I paid for it and now I can't even fucking play it. Even the offline version of the content, I can't even play the fucking practice races and that stuff just to enjoy the gameplay. Nope, it is essentially useless now.
Salt in the wound, though, was that barely a couple weeks after the servers went offline, Ubisoft revoked The Crew from people who had bought it digitally, attaching a message saying, "You no longer have access to this game. Why not check the store to pursue your adventures?" To many, this was an outrage. It essentially meant that you never owned your games to begin with. Ubisoft can just...
Yeah, they pretty much confirmed it, which I mean, technically, according to their terms of service, that's true, but a lot of people, didn't realize that. That's not common practice, and that's the problem, is that having this actual confirmation that the games you're buying aren't actually games you're buying anymore, it stings. Because we all knew that we were buying licenses, but we kind of always thought that, well, once the license expired, then I can still, as long as I have the game, even if they take it off the internet, as long as I have it installed on my computer, I should still be able to play it, right? And this was the first game to say no to that, which is what made it such a big deal.
Take them away. This also more recently happened with Concord. It barely came out for a week and then the servers were offline. If you bought the disc copy, you were played like an idiot. The Stop Killing Games initiative argued that it wasn't really legal. It was very weird for live service games to just shut down like that without giving players an alternative. With Ross Scott,
it had never been done before,
on his YouTube channel saying that games as a service is fraud. One thing to note is that this initiative wasn't forcing publishers or developers to keep game servers online forever. What it simply wanted was to have a way to access these games after the servers went offline, by allowing players to host their own servers, for example, arguing that if taking games down like this would become the norm, then way too many games would become lost media, because that's what the Crew and Concord are right now. They're essentially lost media. It was classified as a European Citizens Initiative, in which European citizens could sign it, and if it would reach 1 million signatures, then it would be talked about in the European Parliament. It would initially get a couple 100,000 signatures.
Yep, that's all he wanted, was a seat at the table. That's all this was intended to do. It's not a negotiation. It's not a demand letter. It's a, hey, we have grievances and we want to talk about them, and enough people have voiced those grievances that you need to listen to us, at least hear us out. We have things to say, and now you know that there's a bunch of people who agree with it, so give us a seat at the negotiating table so we can begin the negotiation, so we can talk. This wasn't the negotiation. This wasn't a demand letter. This wasn't them saying what they had to do. This was just we want you to listen to us. That's it. That's all this was.
Till a certain person would speak out against it in the most aggressive way possible. Of course, we're talking about our good old friend, Piratesoftware. He felt so passionate about this topic that he made 2 videos about it, very shortly after it launched in the summer of 2024. Now look, we're not going to watch the whole video, I just want to show you the first 10 seconds. Let's do this.
Hi, my name is Jason Thor Hall, also known as Piratesoftware Online. I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment, then Amazon Game Studios, and now I own my own studio, Piratesoftware, by the same name, which is an indie studio, and I've been...
There's just something about this guy, man. I don't know. I can't explain it. Anyway, he worked...
He can't help but bring it up every chance he gets because he thinks it gives him credibility.
At Blizzard Entertainment for around 7 years, guys, and he vehemently opposed every single thing this initiative stood for, arguing that it would kill live service games and kill gaming in general, completely misunderstanding what this initiative was even about, and using his
I have a different take. I don't think he misunderstood. It's way too simple for him to misunderstand. I think that he was either paid by Blizzard or his dad, or encouraged by them at the very least, to fight back against it, because Blizzard has a lot of live service games and he wants to be able to shut them down if they want to, like they did Overwatch 1 when they just rebranded it into Overwatch 2. So I think that, and he is either an industry plant, which is option A, or option B. He is so far up his own ass with his indie development that he thinks there's a future where he finishes Heartbound and does his own live service game at Piratesoftware, that he'll be able to make money forever in the future. And he doesn't want this to affect his game development for his fictional game he hasn't started yet. It's either one of the two. I'm leaning more towards the Blizzard one, but he's also egotistical enough that he may believe that one day I may want to make a live service game, so I need to stop this now, so when I want to make mine, it doesn't affect me. Because he is selfish. It's one of the two. The thing it's definitely not is him misunderstanding it. I don't think for a second he misunderstood it. No shot.
massive influence which was still present at the time to kill it instantly. I want to be clear here. In this video, he tries his best to appear level-headed, professional even, echoing the genius that you first saw in his YouTube shorts at the end of 2023. But on his stream, oh my god, this guy was a mess. These are the very nice things he had to say.
And the stream, he knew made him look bad, which is why he removed it. He deleted the VOD. But it's too late. The internet already saved it. So we get to enjoy these clips now. I hope this guy got them. I hope they're in here.
About this initiative. Watch.
Shit, now this is actually really dumb.
Yeah, he got it.
It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit.
Which he then said on Twitter, I never called him a used car salesman. That's ridiculous. Blah, blah. He tried to deny he said the things he said, not realizing people had already saved the clip. And then people start playing the clip, and he still doesn't take ownership of it. That's what's so infuriating about people like him, is you literally show them that they're wrong with their own words and their own videos, and they try to tell you the thing you saw it and what you think it is, even though we can all see it. Water ain't wet, Chief. I'm gonna pee on your leg and tell you it's raining.
It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is
Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This
No, yeah, according to him, this is the worst thing that's ever been made by humanity. Like, this is the, like, oh my god, you'd think that this is actually going to end gaming as we know it. But it's not. It's seeking to do the opposite.
shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move.
Yeah, because he has no real reason behind it. I think he knows. I think he's either an industry plant, or he honestly believes that one day his little indie game studio is going to make it a live service game, and he doesn't want this to affect him. He's either being selfish, or he's a corporate plant. It's one of the two. I don't think he's dumb enough to misunderstand the initiative. The initiative was so written in such a way that it's so plain, simple, and to the point that a normal person can understand it, and that was by design. They want normal people to sign it.
That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I drop the mask entirely.
In his very professionally level-headed video, he says this.
It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games and that the next generation has the tools to do so that our medium doesn't...
See, this is the statement that has me thinking maybe it's about him making a live service indie game that one day he thinks, this fictional game he hasn't announced yet and he hasn't even planned yet, but one day he may want to, so he's just trying to future-proof himself and make it so that, in the future, if I ever want to make a live service game, because I'm a developer, guys, a developer who worked at Blizzard for 7 years, I would want to be able to make the game my way and not the way y'all tell me to. I think it's really hard to tell if he's an industry planner, if it's that. Hey, it could go either way. I could see both being the reason. Or maybe it's a little bit of both. Who knows?
Doesn't die out.
But that's exactly what Stop Killing Games wants to do. The whole point of this initiative is for this medium to not die by allowing so many games to become lost media. And yet, this is what Piratesoftware was saying about this whole thing.
I think live service games getting sunsetted is fine. I've always thought that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, at this point, just no comment. When he would start receiving quite a bit of backlash, of course now there's more dislikes, but when it first released, I'd say 30% of the like to dislike ratio was dislikes, he made this pinned comment, outlining some points that don't really help his very aggressive reaction that came out of nowhere, and then ended it with a quotation saying he won't even talk to Ross, who is the founder of Stop Killing Games. To which
because he knows he's wrong. Same reason he won't talk to Coding Jesus. He can't prove the other guy wrong because the other guy's not wrong. He knows it's a losing argument for him. There's nothing he can say to defend himself. He would rather just dismiss it because that's his play. That's the thing he's good at.
Replied with, correct. I think his position is disingenuous due to his comments about how this could be pushed through government. It's a bad direction, removes validity for what the initiative is trying to do, portrays the process in an incorrect manner, and just builds sensationalism. Thinking that kind of language is okay puts him squarely on my not worth it to talk to list, as there are others that could have a more productive conversation. So what he's talking about is this slide here. This one slide in the entirety of this initiative is the only reason why he refuses to talk to Ross. It says, reasons the European Citizens Initiative could pass. Politicians like easy wins. Politicians mostly don't care about video games. The law is already unclear on this practice. The initiative is in line with other consumer policies. It's a diversion from more serious topics. Now, according to Ross, this was a half-truth, half-joke slide. And I think that's how a normal person would view it. I don't think it was tone deaf in any way, but it angered the hell out of Pirate Software for some reason. I don't know why.
Because it's a thing he can focus on to obfuscate from the actual point. The actual point being that he's wrong. Because he doesn't have a real point. So he's trying to obfuscate from it by pointing out the things that are obvious jokes and obviously not true to try to discredit the whole thing. It's a common tactic.
Some people theorize that it's because he got close to Ludwig, and together they founded the games publisher Off-Brand Games. When the Stop Killing Games initiative came out, they were in the process of releasing a live service multiplayer.
Oh, yep, it's the live service thing. I didn't even realize about this one. Yep, it's about the game that he's developing. He probably got marching orders from Ludwig.
Player game. So there was definitely...
Which would still kind of make him a corporate plant, because someone who's got an established business better than yours is telling you how to respond so that you can keep your job with him. Yep, that's what this is.
At least some sort of a conflict of interest here. Regardless, this European Citizens Initiative had a 1-year deadline. It would be automatically closed on the 31st of July, 2025. And by the end of June, it barely had 500,000 signatures, which meant it had no hope of ever reaching 1 million, or so it seemed. This was until Accursed Farms, the channel owned by Ross Scott, would release a video titled The End of Stop Killing Games. It's an hour-long video that kind of reminds us what this initiative is about, how we got here, the feedback...
And more importantly, finally addresses Pirate Software, who he'd been ignoring because he didn't want to drag drama into this, which ironically... Drama was the exact thing you needed to get as much attention as possible and people behind it. Yeah, people like drama, man. Lean. If you've got something to sell, if you've got a cause that you need support for, drama's the best thing you can have on the internet. It will bring eyes to it. It will bring the most eyes to it the fastest. You need the drama. You just do. That's truth.
Back in criticism he's received, the changes he's made, and of course the majority of the video is him responding to Pirate Software's very aggressive...
People love to back a cause for ulterior motives. Just like people won't watch a movie, not because it's bad, but because woke. Because, yeah, if you make it a drama, if you dramatize it, then people will get behind it. Doesn't matter if they're behind it for the wrong reasons. Not when you need the signatures to make the thing even happen. Yeah, they're probably signing it for the wrong reason, but who gives a fuck?
Aggressive criticisms. Most of the clips of Pirate Software crashing out over the Stop Killing Games initiative were actually from this video. Ross addresses every single one and ended up, whether intentional or not, making Pirate Software look like a clown who had no idea what he was talking about.
It wasn't intentional, but I mean, it worked out like that, so I'm here for it. I enjoyed it.
This video almost has 1 million views, and many people watched it. Some of those people happen to be way bigger content creators than Pirate Software, and seeing that this very important initiative was very close to failure, tried their best to bring as many people as possible to sign it. For example, Moist Critical talked about it in his videos at over 3.5 million views. Hell, even Jacksepticeye talked about it on his second channel, and the video's sitting at over 1 million views. People understood that this initiative wasn't just a good thing for video games, it was integral to ensure its survival for the future. Hell, even Minecraft creator Notch had something to say about it, tweeting, "Hey guys, just got back to gaming after a brief break. Wait, why is there a Nepo baby doubling down over there?" Adding, if buying a game is not a purchase, then pirating them is not theft.
I disagreed with his statement because you can obviously pirate things that aren't purchasable. You can pirate cable television, for instance. Stealing cable has been something that's been done since the invention of cable television. Cable television isn't something you own, it's a service, but you can still steal it. Now, I would say that if games can't be purchased, now the better way he should have phrased that was, if you can't purchase a game, then piracy isn't theft, it's preservation. If they're deleting our games, piracy isn't there to steal it, it's there to preserve it. Framing piracy as preservation is the correct way to do it. That's how I would have done it, because I think that's how most people see it. Rightfully so, because that is what you're doing. You're preserving that game because they want to make it lost media. That's the right way to do that.
This truly solidified the position of Piratesoftware in the Hall of Fame of lolcows. It was undeniable at this point. His stupidity had made an entire movement succeed, just purely on the basis of him being so unaware of what was going on. He lacked the most basic form of self-awareness. And thanks to that, the Stop Killing Games initiative not only reached 1 million signatures, but is currently at over 1.3 million in overdrive, about to reach 1.4 million any time now, with the UK petition reaching double the signatures required. You even had a vice president of the European Parliament voicing support for this initiative and signing the petition himself while urging other Europeans to do the same. This initiative gained so much traction that a publisher group full of the biggest publishers on the planet, including EA and Ubisoft for example, responded saying that these proposals would curtail developer choice and that it was unsustainable and unfeasible. In other words, they were very scared that this could actually pass. Being a game...
Yep. And they don't want it to pass because they don't want you playing the game you like. They want to shut it down to make you play the new version. Because I can tell you right now, if Overwatch 1 still existed, Overwatch 2 wouldn't have as big of an audience. I promise you that. When Overwatch 2 launched, it would have been dead on arrival if Overwatch 1 still existed because people hated that game at launch. It didn't deliver on its promises. The new setup of being 6v6 or whatever, changing the number of players, rebalanced the teams, and it wasn't the same game. They lost a lot of players, and they would have lost even more if people had an alternative to play.
Gamer myself, I wish this initiative the best of luck in Parliament, and I truly hope it passes. When I buy a digital game, I'd like to know that I actually own it and that it won't be taken away from me at any given moment. But while this initiative was gaining a lot of positive attention, Piratesoftware, on the other hand, was gaining all the negative attention. He's currently bleeding over 10,000 subscribers daily on his YouTube channel and has currently lost a massive chunk of his viewership on Twitch. I mean, look at these numbers. He used to peak 15,000 concurrent viewers and is now down to 5,000. That's 1/3 of where he used to be 7 months ago. And that's without mentioning all the
deserved
followers he's been losing. I mean, look at this, minus 50,000 just in July. Additionally, this renewed scrutiny has prompted many YouTubers like Coding Jesus and Slop News Network to analyze the code that he writes on stream, concluding that...
We watched some of theirs at the beginning, which, you know, to be fair, they're a little dry, they're a little hard to watch if you're not into coding. I tried to watch some of them. I think their shorts do a better job. I think we may watch those as their content, and then I'll add the context I need, because they get a little in the weeds with it, and it can be a bit hard to follow if you're not familiar with coding or into this stuff. The main takeaway from them all is that they can debunk the stuff that he's exaggerating and lying about. There's some truth behind what he says. Again, a nugget of truth, but a lot of what he said is exaggerated, and the reason why he doesn't code things the way he codes them, some of what he says is lies. Again, not all of it. Nugget of truth behind everything he says, but then it's exaggerated to the point of lying, and that's what their channels are mainly doing, is calling that out.
A child, a literal toddler, can probably do a better job. Seriously, this is the gift that keeps on giving. Because, of course, instead of just apologizing, taking a step back, taking the L for once, admitting you made a mistake, maybe taking some advice that Dr. K gave you, he would triple down or quadruple down, I guess I can't even keep track at this point, and make this post, saying the most interesting narrative is that my video somehow killed the initiative. This graph shows that the initiative already had a downward trend in interest when my videos dropped. My videos do not seem to have had any impact on the movement at all. Making me the villain did though. Best of luck with your next steps.
But it clearly did. There's no way for you to know that there weren't going to be people who signed it at the end, or that they wouldn't have been able. Basically, he's trying to use a graph to prove a negative. You can't prove a negative. You can't know that if other people's videos on it would have boosted it or not had your video not been there to give people misinformation. You don't know how many people saw your video first before seeing that other one, and that stopped you. You can't prove how many people it stopped from signing it. You don't know. That's you can't prove a negative, and that's what he's attempting to do here. Had his video not existed and people, their only exposure to it had been the videos being honest about it, well, then a lot more people may have been willing to share those videos, and it may have spread like wildfire. It may have had a little downward trend and then seen a bump. You don't know. There's no way that you can say that. You just can't. You can't prove a negative, man.
So at this point, I can't help but be impressed how much he's willing to die on hills that don't matter. People aren't even tracking cumulative signatures and daily signatures. They just understood that this initiative is worth fighting for, it's very important for the longevity of games as a medium, and that you, with your massive platform, not only criticized it very aggressively, thinking that this was going to be an easy win that made you out to be a genius, but urged all your audience, all your strong community to not sign it when they were telling you to sign it initially. That's how you even found out about the initiative. He would then later tweet this, saying, "I am no longer working at Off-Brand Games. People were attacking all of the games we were publishing and trying to mass review bomb them. You can dislike the things I say, but this kind of behavior is unhinged. Learned a lot there, accomplished a lot, hope they succeed regardless, loved those dudes and loved working with them, hope they keep cooking." Ludwig would reply to this, saying, "Stop Killing Games is a good initiative, but a few bad actors review bombed / harassed developers of the games we support at Off-Brand Games. Appreciate Thor stepping down for the betterment of the devs and their
Yeah, his reputation had an impact on it. That's undeniable.
games," to which he would get community noted. The note said, "Rivals of Either 2 has not been review bombed. Verifying this is as easy as opening the Steam page and looking at the graph of reviews." And if you go
Oh, shit! It didn't even get review bombed. I don't know. I don't play Rivals of Aether. But holy damn.
to the game, scroll down, and look at the graph that shows review trends, we can very clearly see that there's no review bombing going on. If anything, there's positive bombing. Look at all these positive reviews in June. But hey, anything to be the victim, right? In fact, the guy became such a victim that I think he started losing his mind. He started comparing his current situation with the Stop Killing Games initiative to Coney 2012. I mean, dude, no, I'm sorry. This is a full-fledged, fully developed and evolved lolcow. There's no way you can say this while being self-aware. It's impossible. And after months of complaining about people brigading and harassing him, he does the same exact thing to—
Come on, play the clip where he invites the harassment by telling them he grew up on 4chan. Like, you have to include that before including this one. Come on, dude. Don't tell me you missed that. Don't tell me you missed that.
Coding Jesus. He would leave a comment on his code review video and would then link his comment to his chat so that they can go upvote it in an effort to ratio the video itself. Like, how petty is that? Come on, man.
Do you make a link to it? You have to click on the little 6 hours edited? Aha! So that doesn't seem to do it? Oh, do I have to right click on this and then copy link address? And then do that? Is that what does this? Ah, it does highlighted comment. There we go. Boop. There's my comment on it. Enjoy. And I also have a whole argument with a whole bunch of people in the replies in there so they can see what's going on with it. I talked them through the entire thing of why I did that all in an array, because that is not normal practice to do that, and it's specifically so that you guys can reverse engineer the game and solve the ARG. Sometimes doing bad practice has meaning.
They also explain why that doesn't make any sense.
Which is...
But again, he's talking to his audience that doesn't understand coding at all, so they know him to be the smart guy that used to work at Blizzard, so they just kind of take him at his word with everything. His entire career is based off of that, off of taking him at his word, because I used to work at Blizzard, guys. That's the entirety of his career. And when people point that out and shoot it down, yeah, he loses a good portion of his audience, but there's always going to be just those hardcore fanboys who think that everything he says is gospel simply because he used to work at Blizzard. They're going to listen to the guy who used to work at Blizzard over some coder who didn't work at Blizzard. He just doesn't understand. There's some people who are just always going to believe him no matter what, unfortunately, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Ever, man. He later deleted this VOD because this literally breaks YouTube TOS. This breaks every aspect of terms of service when it comes to brigading and harassment.
Yeah, you can't send your audience after somebody else.
I mean, at this point, can this get any worse? Yes. He'd be asked about his opinion when it comes to Stop Killing Games finally reaching 1 million signatures, and he said, "I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything that you asked for, but nothing you wanted, and I'll
leave it at that." What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Gets everything you wanted and nothing you asked for. So we get them to stop killing games, but what? They put them in a vault so we can't buy them? What does that even mean?
I'll leave it there. See, if I was 12 years old, I would have probably thought this was really cool, but now it's just edgy beyond cringe. But listen, as much as this was...
And it's not even that it's edgy, it doesn't even make sense.
a ridiculous roller coaster ride on the lolcow express, someone did end up asking him, hey man, would you consider making an apology video, setting everything straight? Because you know what, this is still salvageable. You can still redeem yourself. And
yeah, it's somewhat salvageable. I'd say that there's permanent damage done at this point, but it's, if you finally gave people that sigh of relief where you let them win and go, you guys are right, I'm sorry, and then you come to your senses, the drama will at least stop. There's going to be, like, there's still permanent damage done. There's going to be a large portion of your fan base who is just too little too late. But you'll be able to press forward, move on, and probably make some new fans. Like, it's still somewhat salvageable.
And here's what he had to say.
Put up a video saying you were wrong with every situation and the internet move on. I am not doing that. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, simply bend the knee and lie about how you feel, and everyone will stop bullying.
And that counter in the corner, where he does a counter for every time he bans a person, just invites more of it. Like, everything he does invites it, and then he plays victim when it happens. It's honestly mind-blowing. By putting that counter up there to brag about the number of trolls you've banned this stream, you're just inviting more trolls to come up there because they're going to troll you on purpose to watch number go up. Because people like to watch number go up. You play RPGs. You play MMOs. You should know this. Telling the internet that they can't get to you because you grew up on 4chan, because you grew up on something awful forums, etc. They're going to see that as a challenge. And they said challenge accepted. And they came at you with everything they had, and then you cried about it. God, I hope he shows that those two clips back to back, which I made into a montage on my channel if you guys hadn't seen them, if he doesn't include them here, where you can see him bragging about how untrollable he is, and then immediately after crying when he got trolled. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic.
That's a great idea, dude. Yeah, no. Eat shit.
This guy is so hopeless, man. Now, I will say this because I'm sure this will appear in the comments. Yes, I'm aware that Piratesoftware is a massive furry, and I'm also aware that he was legally married to someone, and during that marriage, he got in contact with one of the Kickstarter backers of Earthbound, the game he's working on, and started a very inappropriate 18+ relationship with them while being married. Yes, he committed adultery. The reason why I didn't mention this in the video is because it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. If he had just apologized during the WoW Classic incident, this coming out wouldn't have done anything to him, because guess what? Most of these messages involved 18+ roleplay, but more specifically, furry roleplay. Yes, they would literally say to themselves, pets you, nuzzles you, plays with your tail, and then get, more 18+ into it. Yes, most people couldn't even read one page of chat logs because of how cringy it is. So I'm so convinced it wouldn't have done anything to his reputation. It's meaningless to talk about. But if you're interested, you can check out this video by Fearful Tears titled Piratesoftware, the most delusional Twitch streamer. Look, Piratesoftware is a lesson not just in content creation, but in quite literally anything. Normal people make mistakes.
I thought about going over that on my channel too, the leaked furry DMs, but unfortunately this guy didn't think to screenshot the DMs before. He didn't think to screenshot the DMs before leaking them or before things going south. So by the time he screenshotted them, Piratesoftware had already deleted his side of the conversation. So the leaks are just a one-sided conversation. I mean, it's not like definitive evidence, unfortunately. I mean, he makes a good case, and there's a lot there to go through. And it does show that Piratesoftware did have 10-hour phone calls from him where Piratesoftware called him, not him calling Piratesoftware. So they weren't, and it does contradict Piratesoftware's story a little bit where he said, you made an advance at me and I rejected you. It took you 10 hours and multiple phone calls to reject him? Really? Yeah, like there's some inconsistencies, but that's the best you've got out of this is inconsistencies. It's not actual proof of anything, so that's why I didn't want to go over it. It is funny, though.
And geniuses make mistakes too. We're all human. Admitting that you make a mistake isn't you admitting that you have a weakness. No, on the contrary, never admitting that you're wrong is a weakness in itself because it shows how insecure you are, how fragile of an ego you have. And it'll only make people want to avoid you. I mean, what's the point? Piratesoftware is the stupid person's definition of a genius, and he managed to ride that wave.
He's the Jordan Peterson of gaming.
For a little while. But now the party's over, and he only has himself to blame. He'll still be a content creator, he'll still have a sizable audience, but he'll never be able to touch the sky like he did at the end of 2023. And they're never
He flew too close to that sky and got burned.
Coming back unless he finally humbles his dumbass. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the entire video up until the end. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video fairly soon. Yeah, I love you so much. Mwah.
Piratesoftware. I worked at Blizzard Entertainment for 7 years. I was the first second generation Blizzard employee. Okay, I was going to stop it there, but has he got more memes? Nah, it's just that. Okay. Well, there you go. That brings us up to speed on everything Piratesoftware and gets my comments out on it because, I mean, he's an interesting case study. What you're seeing here is basically a real life example of the anatomy of a lolcow. So if you don't know what a lolcow is, this does a good job of explaining it. You get to see one from birth to creation. And then you'll get to see the further evolution of it if you continue to follow this drama, which we will. Because he can't help himself. He just can't help himself. There's so many times where he could have got out ahead of this, where he could have stopped things. There's so many times where he could have, you know, saved his career. There's nothing wrong with the shorts. If all the information in them was factual, even if it was basic, he could have kept building upon that. There's so much more he could have done, but ego destroys all. So let this be a lesson to everybody. I know a lot of people want him to learn from this, including Dr. K. I don't. This is sweet, sweet content. I hope he keeps fucking up in glorious fashion, which he did with the smart fridge, which we covered last night on the stream, where he tried to claim that Heartbound can run on a smart fridge. It didn't. Maybe it will one day, or maybe there's certain models of smart fridges that it will run on, but the video he showcased to show it was running on a smart fridge didn't show that. For now, though, I think it's going to do it for me tonight. Damn, that was a long one. Well, I want to thank you guys for sticking it out with me and for watching this to the end. Sub to this guy. His name's Mujin, M-U-J-I-N. I'll link his video in the description or in the pinned comment under this video. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers so I can make a few shekels off of my videos. Or if you rather support me while I live stream and get in on the conversation, we do those every night at midnight, 9 p.m. Pacific time. And I do have super chats and channel memberships and all that good stuff. So you can join in there. For now, though, that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one, everybody.